Hey everybody, this is Aaron here for movie Battleground. Fuck me. This is Aaron here from movie Battleground, and we're doing something very special today. We have the first ever team match. We have not two, but we have 4 competitors ready to duel out. And god damn it. We have 4 competitors ready to fight out 2v2. And we're doing a special extended match today. Normally, we only have 4 questions and 3 speed round. Today, we actually have 6 questions and 5 speed round. So for the special event, we're extending the match. We're doing even more. And I'm just one of you guys. I have them all on mute now. This is going to be a shit show by the end of this fight. So let's go ahead. We'll go ahead and introduce the teams. I'll do the 2 calmer-looking ones first. We have the Ewok Killers, Mike Hanley, and Madeeh Rehman. How you guys doing?
We're doing
excellent.
Great, watermelon shirt for life, bro. We're live. You can't stop me.
Okay. And they're going to be a team, and then we have the other team. We have Andrew Hayes, who are the White Russians. How you guys doing?
We're very much white, but I am not Russian.
Yeah.
You are very white.
I'm very Mexican, so watch your mouth.
You look like John Robles.
And here comes Subra!
Hey!
Okay, and we do have our...
And we can now end the show.
Fact checker, Subrath. Hey, what's up, buddy?
I'm fine.
Okay, so you're fact checking then?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need
You're
camera
gonna have
fact
a
check.
hell of a job today. I swear to God. If you don't,
Because we promised not to say a single fact.
Oh yeah.
I know one
Forrest
fact
Gump came out 2 weeks ago for the first time.
This is already a shit show. I love it.
If you guys could have seen what we did on camera, boy, the cops and the NSA, everybody.
You should pay us for the shit we do on camera.
I'm more worried about what we did off camera, let's be honest.
I don't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Alright, guys. Hold up. I just have to make sure. Mike, talk for me.
Yeah.
Okay, your audio's coming through. I have a weird glitch on my thing where it says you're still muted, but you're not, so...
Yeah, it says mine too.
So we can't mute him?
No, I can mute him. You guys can't.
Can we just mute everybody?
I can mute him.
Not quite. Okay. Alright, guys. Let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, we have 6 main round questions today. I'm already regretting that choice.
Thumbs up. Let's do this.
Alright. Ewok Killers, are you ready?
I was born ready.
Go to war!
As we know, there's a story released last week sometime about the fact that DC is making a Joker movie outside of the DCEU, and they're planning to do other movies outside of the DCEU. So I thought we'd ask the question, what character deserves their own movie but separate from the DCEU? Mike and Madeeh, you guys are going to go ahead. First, you guys give your initial pitch, and then Andrew and Henry can do theirs.
All right, Mike, you want to take point on this, or?
You go ahead on this one. I'll do the next one.
All right, so we felt like the best answer to this question was the question. The question, for those of you... Yeah, I made that joke.
Also, Henry, you can...
Stay on target. Okay. Whew. Gotta do this. We can do this. Basically, for those of you who don't know, the question is basically like the detective that Batman can never be. Like, he's solely a detective, like a neo-noir style. So he'd basically be set, like, probably in the 1930s, 40s sort of thing, like during the Depression era, where he could basically just be the old school detective that we saw in, like, the Maltese Falcon sort of thing. And that's basically what we thought our story would be, was focus on a character who's not got, like, these crazy superpowers that would fit into, like, the Justice League and sort of, that would make his own movie as is, but have someone that would make a compelling story and still be able to sell tickets on that kind of old school vibe of having a neo-noir that we haven't really seen in the last, like, 20 years that I can remember that was any good.
Okay, good opening statement. Andrew and Henry, go ahead and give yours.
All right. I'll go ahead and take this one, Henry.
Go ahead, dude.
All right. We went ahead and answered the Green Lantern. Now, the Green Lantern, obviously there was the one back in 2011, I believe, that completely bombed. And I really wanted more from this movie. This movie, I think, is the best that you can make. The best one that is something that could be new, rather than a Batman or a Superman that you can make a franchise out of. There's so much lore that you could work with, and that it's just a more recognizable name that will put asses in seats, I guess you could say. And that's what I got for my opening statement.
All right, so you guys are going to have 5 minutes on the clock to debate this back and forth. So the only difference between this match and the team match and the regular matches is, and I already explained this to the players, but it's okay on an individual argument if one player argues more than the other. I just need to hear something at some point from all 4 players. So guys, go ahead and fight it out.
Okay. The problem with the question is that not many people know who the question is. Oh,
That's the point of it, though. That's the point of having the movie with the question, so people get it. No one knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. Look what happened to that.
Yeah.
But do you know how much of a meme that's going to come if the movie is called The Question and everyone at the end
It's
of the
going to
day
be the
like,
ultimate fucking meme.
no,
That's
but
what
they're
it's
going to be like, we're going into the question, but what was
publicity
the
is good
answer? They don't even
publicity,
know.
man.
That's going to be memed so much,
They'll-
and
they
it's
have
going to
to go to
become a
movies to
joke.
see out the
It's going to
answer.
be a B-rate movie. Nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's going to take it serious. It's not
Listen,
going to make
people
money.
still
It's not
remember
from a
Ryan Reynolds.
franchise.
If you
It's
get
not
the-
appealing.
If you get the right director and the right actor, which if you put like a J.J. Abrams in there and have like the kind of style he had
Yeah,
with
Cary
Star.
Fukunaga in mind, actually.
Yeah.
Cary Fukunaga, I think, the guy who did True Detective, which was probably the greatest single season of TV
Actually,
What about
that I
season
can
two?
think of.
Because that really worked.
He didn't
out
do
well.
season 2. I'm
All
talking
right.
about season 1. That's a separate season. Season 1 of True Detective, and then also Beasts of No Nation, which was a phenomenally underseen movie, but it was so well done. And
so what you're
was
proving is
amazing.
nobody watches this guy's stuff. That's
Exactly.
what you're
The
proving.
guy
Nobody watches
hasn't
this
had a
guy's stuff.
chance to.
Everyone
break. The guy
watches
saw-
True Detective,
everyone saw
man.
Yeah,
True
but
Detective.
when you see the guy in True Detective, they're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna watch a movie from a TV director because they're automatically gonna either assume that he
Why
can't
not?
translate the
TV?
movie.
J.J. Abrams was originally a TV director. Look
Well,
what
if
happened
you,
with
if you
that.
have like
TV
a Star
today
Trek
is
type of
very
style,
close to what.
Yeah, but
It would
that
be a
was
Star Trek
later
style.
on. We're
No.
talking about the very first movie. The very first movie is not gonna be as much of a
And
spec,
if
especially
you get
because it's a no name.
if you get like a Chris
That's
Pine
it.
who
I mean,
has
and, the
worked
question.
well with J.J. Abrams, if you get Chris Pine, who I think would make a great Green Lantern, I think this movie would work out well because you got so much lore with the Green Lantern. It's just so much that was
We got
unexplored
enough
in the
lore with
original.
it. I think he's going to fit in better with the rest of the Justice League, and they're already
Yeah,
making a
once he
Green
gets in the
Lantern core
Justice
movie,
League, I think he'll
evidently.
do well. A singular movie for Green Lantern, I don't think we need one. We've already got one. It
We already
didn't do
have
well.
one.
I don't think we need to see that again.
Exactly.
He can be
I
like
mean,
the Hulk.
There was just so much unexplored because you got the Red Lanterns, the Blue Lanterns, the Orange Lantern, and
you're not going to fill that in elsewhere.
With the Green Lantern
one-off movies.
franchise, that
You're gonna need
shows
a
that you
sequel
can
for that.
separate
Yeah.
the Green Lantern world versus away from the Justice League. Because
Exactly,
You're not going to want to have that origin in the Justice League because you want to have him join. You want to have an origin because one of two reasons. One, they didn't do justice by the character, no pun intended, by having his bad origin story originally, and also it's so interesting and there's so much going on that you need to build that world. Because it's not like the Hulk where it's like it's just a big green guy. You don't need to build up his origin because he got big, he's green, he smashes stuff. Green Lantern, you need to build up, like you said, the lore of the Green Lantern universe, and you don't have to necessarily connect.
And you won't be able to do that
in
in
space.
This world thing is just completely separate.
Exactly.
you could do that.
Yeah, that's the
whatever
point.
you
We're
want
not saying
and
we're
not
not
have
saying
that.
it says outside of the DCU. It doesn't have to connect to the DCU because he's like
Exactly,
so
but
the
I'd much
Joker
rather
movie.
have a Green Lantern story
And
about the
I think a
characters who are
Green
gonna be
Lantern
involved
movie would
with
work.
Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and the rest of the Justice League cast. I would much rather see someone who's not going to be participating with them as is, and see them become their own character and kind of create their own world from that.
Yeah,
When
and
they
that,
said
and
they
not
were doing
only that,
the Joker
you bring
thing,
a
I'm kind
non-comic
of
book to the question because it's a film noir detective story. So you're going to bring in that non-comic book crowd just with that premise.
Yeah, but you're
Oh, yeah,
you're
hands
pretty
down.
much just pitching Batman and James Gordon working together. That's all that character is. It's just them working together
Not
as
really.
a team.
There's more to
Because you said he doesn't have
There's a lot of
superpowers,
minutia
so
to
that's
this
James
character.
Gordon, and he's a detective. And then you said he's kind of like a badass, so that's Batman. So that's all you're saying is Batman. That just
he
sounds
is.
like a ripoff. It sounds like a B-rate character that nobody's gonna
It's
care
not a
about.
ripoff though. It is a B character. I'll give him that. He's not like the one that people bought the comics of. But when you look at the character,
you're establishing nobody's going to spend money on this, and it's going to be a bomb, and it's going to not even
listen,
ruin careers.
DC fans went to go see Suicide Squad even though the movie sucked.
Yeah, but because it has well-known characters, it has
Guardians of the
well-known
Galaxy, it's a perfect movie. Had no main
Guardians of the Galaxy had no one in it. No one knew anything about it.
Now it has two
well-known characters
in Infinity War movie.
Yeah, but what you're saying with that is that it's its own thing.
You didn't have anyone regular before.
With Guardians of the Galaxy, it's going to help us, and it's also going to hurt you because it's its own thing. So people will be like, oh, it's a space. It's it's kind of like Star Wars or Star Trek. It's a space thing in the MCU. So that's why that's interesting. Yours, it's not its own thing because it's too similar to Batman.
If I'm a studio executive and I'm looking. If I'm a studio executive and I'm looking at these two projects, one of them is Green Lantern, which we did less than 10 years ago, and it sucked.
But how many times do they repeat? Sucked. They've redone Spider-Man. It's gotten better with Homecoming, and they've even though it's been terrible, they've retried Fantastic Four. That just shows that they're willing to retry if they feel like they have the pieces.
They're redoing Venom, and let's see how well that turned out.
Exactly, they're not. Studios aren't afraid to redo something if they know they have it in mind. And if you have a guy like J.J. Abrams who's proved he can bring in money, and then a lead in Chris Pine, he's proved that he can bring in the money.
The studio's already risking money doing this Green Lantern Corps movie, which I don't even know it's going to get off the ground based on how DC runs their thing. I'm a fan of DC, but I don't know if they're actually going to be able to do anything.
Based on the track history?
DC is going to do a lot better if they do a smaller budget movie with The Question and have it as a small movie that does well. Because DC fans are going to go out and see it, and people who are fans of the old school movies like Maltese Falcon are going to go out and see this movie as well. They're going to have that vibe that they're really looking forward to.
There's two things. You say you want a small time movie, but small time movies either have really successful directors who have in the past can balance it,
or hands down a great.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to bring in the money. And if you bring in a lead that's a big name, it's not going to be a small time movie.
Guys, okay, with that is the end of the main argument. Great job on all four of you guys' parts. Definitely don't have an issue with the speaking part. So this is going to be closing arguments. You guys each have one more chance to sell me on why your movie is the better movie. All right? Go ahead. I am leaning one way as of now for one specific point, but if you guys can swing it, go ahead. Mike and Madeeh, whichever one of you wants to go, you guys go first.
Mike, I took opening. You want to take the close?
Sure. I think that The Question is a perfect movie to do because it's a detective story that hasn't really been done, with the exception it's not really like Batman. That's the biggest thing. It's not like Batman. It's a new style. It's more like Dick Tracy. It'll bring in the non-comic book audience. You have non-comic book audience with comic book audience coming in for this. Your guys' movie, it's already been done. It sucked. It was one of the worst comic book movies of all time. They've tried. You said that Fantastic Four was an example. They failed on the reboot. Spider-Man, it took 2 reboots to get it right. So how do you know that it's going to work on the next one? It's not a guarantee to work. Question will work.
All right.
Andrew, do you want this or do you want me to take this?
I'll take this. All right. So if they do it right and get the right director and right actor, which I think if you get J.J. Abrams and Chris Pine, who already been proven to work very well together, it can work well. And if you explore, the red lanterns, the orange lanterns, the purple lanterns, all the different lanterns, and just you could set up this nice big franchise. And it's proven that when most of the time DC properties like the Dark Knight or the Superman franchise, when they're outside the DCEU, they will work great. Yes, Green Lantern failed the first time, but they didn't do it right. And if you do it right the second time, it can work. And, more people are guaranteed to go see Green Lantern.
I have one last thing to chime in, just one sentence. Ours has more upside. So it's worth the risk.
All right. Subrath, anything to fact check after that round?
It was a really close round. There's nothing to fact check. Yeah, it's all good.
Okay. All right.
All good from here.
Okay, so first off, I just want to say for 3 people making their debut, that was really, really good. You guys had really good back and forth. You guys are really good at, this is movie Battleground. It's an arguing show. You guys definitely bring the arguing part of it to the show.
Damn right we do.
This one was really close because when I'm judging, obviously I'm listening to the entire argument and I'm taking everything into account, but I'm also listening for what are the points you guys are bringing forward and can you hit them back? and I'm looking for that one point that does stand out. And the thing you guys did a really good job at is, for both sides, pretty much every point that it was brought out, the other team was able to hit it back and say why it can be a negative, or why it can be, why we can just prove why it's a good thing. And so, okay, so where my mind was at was, the biggest points that came from both sides, with Madeeh and Mike with this question, the biggest point you guys had was definitely that because it's a noir, the character's not really Justice League related anyways. This isn't a movie that's going to get made within the Justice League. That is a great argument as to why it should be outside of the Justice League. However, I'm going to have to give the point to Andrew and Henry. Their big argument that won it for me over the noir is they talked about all the lore that the Green Lantern has just in and of itself, and how that's not going to really be included in the DCU because it's a whole cinematic universe. You can't explore that. So that's why I'm going to give the point to them on that one.
Good job, Andrew.
If every fight goes like that, this will be a great episode.
You want to know, Andrew? What I was gonna pitch Karan as our director, not Abrams. But I mean, and I'm glad that they didn't argue. But Chris Pine's already in the DCEU. They didn't bring that up once. I was so nervous.
If it's separate, then you can't really argue against it, right?
Yeah, but you could bring it up that it would be just too convoluted. People are expecting it to be in the DC. I would have been able to do a good argument on that. But yeah, good fight, guys. Good round.
You want to argue yourself?
No, I'm just giving them advice on how they effed up because we.
Straight up, if you want to give us the point now, I won't be mad.
I'll give you the point after the match if you know what I'm talking about. Watermelon shirt.
Watermelon,
and you'll fucking respect me.
Who is
the second question?
Who is the next older actor to get their own action franchise along the same lines as Liam Neeson with the Taken franchise and Denzel Washington with the Equalizer franchise? Andrew and Henry, you guys are going to be going first on this one. Which one of you wants to do the opening argument?
You could do this one, Henry.
All right, cool. All right, so when you think of somebody who's going to helm their own franchise, you want it to be an actor that you know can act. Because action or not, if a franchise, you want somebody that you're going to see in multiple movies. So you're going to need acting. You're going to need somebody who can handle the story, and because you're going to have an arc if you're going to have a franchise. So you need somebody who can really handle that. You're going to need somebody who can bring butts into seats. So you're going to need somebody who's more well known. And especially if they're older, you don't want to bring in a very unknown older actor because they're going to be like, oh, who is this? Why would I watch this? He's just some old bum. So we're choosing Brad Pitt because he's very well known. He's Oscar nominated. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any wins, but he's Oscar nominated. He's shown that he can do action in movies like Fight Club and Snatch, and Snatch in his early roles where he can actually literally fight. He's shown that in his older age he can handle up. We don't know for sure if it's going to become a franchise, but a horror franchise in World War Z in his old age. So he can do action still at old age, and he can also do a franchise at his old age. And then he's shown that he can do be a character, because Tyler Durden is one of the most well-known characters in all time. And so Brad Pitt, he can handle a franchise, he can handle bringing in butts in the seat because people are going to see him, and he's older. You don't think of him as an old guy, but he's 53 if I recall. You can fact check that. So it's only 3 years younger than what Liam Neeson was when he started Taken. So we're going to go Brad Pitt.
All right, good answer. Madeeh and Mike, which one of you wants to take opening statements?
I'll take the opening statement. When we were thinking about this question, we were thinking about how can we change it up from the everyday character that you see. You see Brad Pitt, you're choosing Brad Pitt, you see that. You see Liam Neeson, you see Denzel Washington. We're going to go the complete opposite. We're going to go with Robin Wright. We're going to choose a woman actress to take over a franchise because she has had her shot with a lot of movies. She really hasn't had a starring role though. She's like Liam Neeson, where she's popped in a couple where she has starred in, but she hasn't got that push that we think that she really needs. And this is a movie that she can really push in and do what she needs to do. She was in Wonder Woman. She was in Everest. She's an amazing actress. She did Princess Bride, so we know she can do an action adventure movie. We want to do that. We want to do Robin Wright because Robin Wright. There you go.
I'm so glad you didn't make a pun right there.
Because Robin Wright is right. Oh, God.
That was the one I was scared about.
Yeah.
Like, you say that, and I,
Once again, we're going to put 5 minutes on the clock. You guys go ahead and fight it out. We were doing Brad Pitt versus Robin Wright.
So initially, I want to start off just so I can get this spoiler out of the way. Spoiler for Wonder Woman, real quick. Anyone listening? All right, good. So in Wonder Woman, which is the only real franchise, if not the only franchise she's ever a part of, she dies in. So she, her character, she shows that she can't handle a franchise, and that she's not even going to be a part of it because nobody cares. Nobody's going to want to see her as a franchise.
That's true. If you can say, "Oh, she can't handle a franchise because her character was written to die."
Yeah, but nobody it's not appealing. If you have Brad Pitt as a mentor in Wonder Woman or
Brad Pitt, I've seen enough times, man.
You're not going to see him die.
I think he does that enough at home. Like, I feel like we should probably have someone who hasn't had a shot and can actually act. Robin Wright, if you look at her filmography, has been around for a long time, and she's done a lot of phenomenal roles. Princess Bride, which is still my favorite movie of all time, no matter what you say. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. She's coming up in Blade Runner, the 2049. Wonder Woman, which is where I really thought of her as like someone who I really wanted to see more of in that action role. And then also coming up later on is like some of her other roles that she's doing. What I really want to see is her do something of an action role where she can really take over and show the world that women are just as badass as men. We've seen enough men take over and do what they do. So that doesn't count. All right, so I mean, look, we've seen enough men take over action roles and be like, oh yeah, I'm a badass, I can shoot people, do this, do this, do this. I like The Equalizer, I like Taken, but overall, they're pretty much the same as every other action movie. When you see Robin Wright take over, a lot of women are going to come into seats because they really want to see women kick ass. And if you put it in the right story, and I mean, going back to what Andrew said in the last one, get the right character, get the right story and right director in it, it's going to be great. We had an idea of Michelle McLaren, who really hasn't had a chance to break out into film either, even though she's done Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad. You put her and Robin Wright together in an action movie where Robin Wright is really able to come into a role, in a leading role, and really kick ass. I think there's nothing that's going to stop that. I mean, that's going to start a franchise all on our own. We saw how popular Wonder Woman was, and still is. It's still kicking the box office right now. And you have Robin Wright, who is one of the best parts of that movie in terms of action-wise, and put her in a leading role, it's going to be unstoppable. I guarantee you more people would want to see Robin Wright kick ass than what Brad Pitt does at home put on camera.
Go ahead, retort to that, Andrew.
All right, well, the problem with that is, like Henry said, Brad Pitt is more well known.
Brad Pitt allegedly what he does at home. I don't want to get into any legal stuff.
Anyway.
All right. See, Brad Pitt is more well known. He's already proven, and he's a bigger name star. If I saw a trailer in the movies right now with an action movie starring Brad Pitt rather than an action movie starring Robin Wright, I'm gonna see the Brad Pitt one because
You're sexist.
No, it's because I know who Brad Pitt is.
You should know who Robin Wright is, too. I mean, look, going back to Robin Wright, she's also done House of Cards, and she is killer in that. She has Kevin Spacey acting next to her, who is a 2-time Oscar winner, and she is pushing him just as hard as he's pushing her. Like, it is such a phenomenal actress.
But none of that has ever proved that she can handle action. Like, even in the Princess Bride, she's a damsel in distress. There's only one slight scene where she does anything that shows that she can be tough, and that's when she hits a rat with. Yeah, but 30 years ago she couldn't handle action then, and at this point, nothing has ever.
Debut. Let's not go that far.
Okay, right? but from 30 years to now, what has she shown?
30 years ago, she was doing Princess Bride, where she's a damsel
even in Wonder Woman, she did action for just a little bit, but it doesn't. That doesn't. She has shields and all these weapons.
We'll see how
you think of an action movie.
I think
when you think of an
action movie,
you think of fighting. You think of punching and kicking and
Blade
jumping.
Runner, they're going to give her something to do because I don't know what this movie's going to be like because I'm kind of hoping
that's another thing,
but I'm not sure about it.
She just had nothing to do. If she was such a lead and could handle a franchise, she would have made her way. She would have punched her way into something.
You know how many actors and actresses there are in Hollywood who haven't gotten their break just because there's always the Brad Pitt who's a big name who can do it.
But now when they're in their 50s and when they've been around this long, because that's your main argument. She's been around this long, and if that is, that's sad. Liam Neeson, when he was in Taken, like he had like a big old gap where he didn't do much. He did Star Wars, which was an action role, so that's not really even a good argument either.
I wouldn't call what he did in Star Wars really action. I would call that more.
You're doing lightsabers. Yeah, you're doing lightsabers and
he held a lightsaber
that
like twice.
Most people, he was in the first one. He was the Darth Maul, obviously, but in Phantom Menace, he was the favorite because Ewan McGregor didn't quite get into his mold. So Liam Neeson already pretty much held it, and everyone was sad of what happened to him and his character. So he proved that old age
Ewan McGregor was the favorite in that movie.
Ewan McGregor was
Not quite in the early. It really in 2 and 3 is when people really started to become like you're looking back now and like, oh yeah, people like him now, but at the time he didn't do anything. He was still young. He was still building that character. He was still getting used to becoming. But that's not the point.
So you're saying the same. Look,
Okay, hold up.
if you have an opportunity to pick an action movie and you choose you have a man or a woman, you go with the woman because
no, not anymore because
what do you mean not anymore?
You've had Atomic Blonde, you've had Salt, you have Scarlett Johansson in the Avenger movies. Exactly. So I'm just saying, like Atomic you can't use that argument.
So keep going with it. It makes money. It's good.
Yeah,
you keep
going. But you're not.
But halfway.
But that argument of like you got to feel guilty. You got to feel like you said sexist. That no, we're at that point where it's broken even because there's not that many action franchises. Like no.
I think guys, time. We're gonna go into closing argument.
I'm not calling anyone sexist, by the way.
Fact check. He called Andrew sexist. Fact check.
I did, but I call everyone sexist. It's kind of my thing.
Here. You guys have one more push.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
On why your actor is better to get their own action franchise. Andrew and Henry, which one of you wants to go for closing?
I'm gonna go because I have a director actually that I want to bring up. So with Brad Pitt, I want to because with action ones, you have all these big names in the studios. They can't handle it. But I don't think with an action franchise, kind of like trilogy, same thing you with the Bourne. It's not a universe. You know, you just have a trilogy. So I want to go with Andrew Dominic, the director that directed Brad Pitt and Killing Them Softly, which is a super underrated action movie that a lot of people, it's kind of like a cult movie in a sense, but it's the people that like it love it. So, and he's shown that he can be a hitman and a badass. He can look good, but also be gritty. And then he was also his director in The Assassination of Jesse James. So he shows that he can take his time, build up characters, build up moments, build a story that's based on a true story. So he shows that he can handle a true story properly. A lot of people love that movie. It got Casey Affleck his first nomination for an Oscar. It got Brad Pitt to be a real person. So he shows that he can handle characters, he can handle action, and Brad Pitt, as I said, even at this old age, he can handle action. So I got an actor-director right there, and they've worked together times, so they have the chemistry, and it'll work. And like I said, Brad Pitt automatically is going to bring butts in the seats, so money, so you're going to have at least 2 or 3, if not more, franchise.
And Madeeh and Mike, which one of you wants to close for you guys?
You want to close on this one?
Sure, I can do it. So what I'll say for this is Michelle McLaren and Robin Wright, if we put those two together, that is going to be an unstoppable combination. Why? Because it's 2 women who are going to go hard in Hollywood, which they don't have a chance to do usually. We've seen what it can do with Wonder Woman, and we've also never really had a chance to see what these 2 can do on a big screen. And it's kind of like John Wick, where you had 2 no-name directors and Keanu Reeves, who really didn't do much since the 90s. Since the 90s. It's my closing argument. Let me talk.
I'm whistling. Can't hear me.
And then you go in and you... Small.
What's up, Unc?
And then you go... So you have those 2 women who are powerful and show that women can be just as powerful as men and have them take over a franchise that is really dominated by men, like heavily dominated. You go through the list and it's pretty much men, Atomic Blonde, men, Wonder Woman. And then it's just going to be men until we give another woman a chance. And I think Robin Wright would be the one who can do it.
Okay, that was, again, another great argument, guys. Subrath, anything you need to fact check?
Probably a hell of a lot.
The only thing I need to say is that the Casey Affleck, you know, he only got nominated. He didn't win.
Fair enough. You're right.
Jesse James.
No, yeah, you're right.
Okay, so if that is all, then we'll go ahead. Again, great fight, guys. You guys had a lot of great points, so it's just kind of writing some of them down and ciphering through them. You guys both obviously gave directors, and you guys gave good reasons as to why your directors would work well with those actors and why they'd work well in the context of the type of film you're trying to make with these action stars. Obviously, you know, and you guys both gave movie examples, which is good. Both of these actors have very high quality acting. I don't think we're going to doubt that either of these are good actors. And this was a point against Robin Wright, whether or not she has done the extreme action, we can say both of these actors have done films that include action in them, so we at least know that they are able to handle being in action sequences and can make that work. However, the point is going to go to Madeeh and Mike on this one, simply because a point was made early on in the battle that Brad Pitt is someone who we've seen a lot of and who is out in the media a lot and has had franchises, whether or not they're on the Taken level of action franchises, he has had franchises before to run. Whereas Robin Wright has not had a chance at a franchise like this, and she's not someone who is necessarily out there and in front of everyone, so that would give her a great opportunity to make herself more known and really put herself out there for someone who has, as established, been around for a long time and put in great performances. This would be a good boost to her career. So for that, I'm going to give the point to Madeeh and Mike. Once again,
You'll get the check in the mail later.
I swear to God, because there's no way you should have won that one.
So again, just to establish, the score right now is 1-1, and no one is sexist here, even though it's.
I feel like you got some male grief over there. You're like, I gotta give it.
We have a lot of men on this panel. I'll point that out.
It's a sausage party in here.
Unless somebody has something you want to tell us.
And you're gonna fucking respect me.
That should be a hashtag.
Hashtag respect me.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the third battle.
We've lost all our viewers by now.
This one is a very simple fight. What is the best Quentin Tarantino movie? He said what? He said eight or 9 films now, right?
8.
Yeah, 8.
That's why
It's
the last one was
technically
called
9, but he counts Kill Bill 1 and 2 as one story.
So he's done 8
Yeah.
movies. So we're going to go ahead and argue, out of those 8 films, what is the best of his filmography? And Madeeh and Mike is going to start this one off. Which one of you wants to open?
I can open, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Let's all not go at once.
Yeah, right? Oh, my God. Fighting for this chance. So we chose Inglourious Bastards. Now, when people think of Quentin Tarantino in the recent years, Inglourious Bastards is the first one that comes up. And it's really because it's such a phenomenal movie that gave us Christoph Waltz's greatest performance right off the bat. It's also such a strong movie, going back to what you guys said, in Brad Pitt's performance as well as the outstanding cast that he put around himself. It's like retelling Nazi history in a way that's probably better than what actually happened, in a way that we actually do kill Hitler, and it's kind of funny to watch him die. And I would say that because of not only just Christoph Waltz's performance, but the performances of everyone in that cast, and the way that he shot that movie, it is better than any other movie that he's done before or since.
All right, good opening arguments. And Henry and Andrew, you guys are up next. Which one of you wants to open? Henry, for some
Do you want
reason.
to go, Henry?
I think Henry's muted.
Yeah, Henry.
I'll go first.
There you go.
All right. So when you think of Quentin Tarantino, the first thing you think of, I got an echo. Is that everyone?
Yeah,
I
I'm
got it
getting
too a
that.
little bit.
Give that go too.
No, I can't hear you.
When you think of Quentin Tarantino, the first thing you think of is characters and dialogue. When you think of Quentin Tarantino, you think of action. When you think of Quentin Tarantino, you think of small scale, low key, but big as far as story wise, because of how well drawn out the characters are and how intense the dialogue is and the conversations. So the best Quentin Tarantino we're saying is Reservoir Dogs. And I just want to go right off the bat and say it's not because it's the first. We're not going to use that argument. No one cares. First, it's the best. It doesn't get the credit for that. It's because you start off a movie talking about like a virgin, and that whole thing. You're immersed in a conversation about a song, Like a Virgin, and a bunch of men talking about how they think of whether it's Like a Virgin because it was just so good they haven't had sex with like that for so long, or such a big old Johnson, or whatever. And it's so interesting because it's so random, and it doesn't have anything to do with the story, but it's at least 5 minutes of them talking in that diner, and just it shows that you can build up the characters, and you have subtle hints like spoiler alert for Reservoir Dogs, when he's like, who didn't tip, and then you have Mr. Orange, oh, it was him, right off the bat. It's just so quick and smart. And then you have the dialogue between Mr. Blonde, how crazy he is. He's like, oh, you want me to shoot him? He's like, you couldn't. If you shoot me in a dream, you gotta wake up and apologize, Mr. Whiteside. So it just shows that their characters are badasses. They're great. And the big knock on Tarantino movies, especially of late, is the over-the-top, excessive blood in Django, Inglourious Bastards, and Kill Bill, where it just takes away from the story and it becomes a cartoon. And it didn't quite get there yet, and it just shows that if you stay to your roots, you can be really good, and Reservoir Dogs is the best Quentin Tarantino movie.
All right, good opening statement, guys. You guys have 5 minutes on the clock. Go ahead and fight it out. Best Tarantino movie, Inglourious Bastards.
Before we start, I'm still getting an echo. Can we try and figure out how to fix that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who it is.
I thought it was me, but I fixed it. So I'm just
I don't know what it is.
Me.
Maybe it's you.
I'm on my phone, so I don't know if I can do anything for this. But hang on.
Is it me?
I just unplugged. Plugged back in. So.
This doesn't go into our 5 minutes, does it?
I haven't started yet. No.
So here.
Ready?
There's an echo in the
Maybe.
All right.
How am I? Nope, I got echo.
No, it's still echoing.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Screw it. Let's just go
Yeah.
through it.
When we're fighting, we won't hear it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just be yelling too much.
Exactly.
All right. To go on your too much blood point, I don't think that's really a downside to his storytelling. I think it's just something that he's developed as one of his own styles as he's matured as a director. And not to say, oh, the first is this or the first is that. I think the fact that Reservoir Dogs was his first does kind of take away from it, just because it wasn't him at his best. He knew he could do better, and he tried to do better, and he kept getting better, in my opinion. There was a little bit of a drop with Jackie Brown, in my opinion,
So
but
great.
he argument for a different time. But when I see Reservoir Dogs, I'm like, man, this is a great start, and then he keeps getting better. And Pulp Fiction is one of my all-time favorites as well. And I said, man, he's gotten even better. And then he dropped off a little bit, did Kill Bill, which I liked, and then Inglourious came out, and I was like, holy crap, this solidifies him as one of the great, not only screenwriters but directors, for both of them of all time. I saw that movie, and I was like, even the first opening scene with Christoph Waltz coming into the guy's house and saying that he's the Jew hunter was so thrilling. I was on the edge of my seat, and the movie had just started. I was so enthralled by not only his writing.
Been touched by any Quentin Tarantino movie. That opening is amazing.
I would argue, there's great openings in Tarantino movies. The opening of Pulp Fiction is great, but it's not as great. Hateful Eight's opening was probably the weakest part of that movie, in my opinion. But you see the Inglourious opening, and that first 5 to 10 minutes, however long it felt like it was too short. It felt like it was 20 seconds, and it was over. And I thought that was probably the weakest part, that it felt like it was over too quickly for that part. That opening alone, I thought, was better than anything else Quentin Tarantino has ever done, and might even be better than anything he ever will do. That's just the opening. And then you get into the rest of the story, where you introduce Brad Pitt's character and the rest of his Inglourious members, and then you also meet, forgetting the name of Shoshana, I think is her name. And, yeah, and her theater and her plan to take revenge on Christoph Waltz's character, and to also try and take down Hitler. And then you also have this really side story that stays for so long, so short, but is so compelling, is Michael Fassbender working for the British, coming into Germany and trying to take out some of the German spies. And it's such a small role, but Michael Fassbender is so good in it. And Mike Myers, whatever one you want to call him, is probably the best he's ever been in a dramatic small role that I haven't seen. I didn't know he was able to do. And it was kind of, I was like, oh, that's good. And then afterwards I realized that's Mike Myers. He can be dramatic. It opened the doors for him, which he hasn't taken advantage of yet. But that entire movie from beginning to end is just pluses all the way through, starting with that great monologue at the beginning and then ending with Brad Pitt's line saying, I think this might be my masterpiece. And it really is Quentin Tarantino's masterpiece, and that's what Brad Pitt is saying at the end.
Okay.
Andrew, I think your partner wants you to jump in.
Oh, okay.
God,
well,
yeah.
see,
10 minutes ago.
All right. Well, see the problem.
Game over, guys. We win.
Well, the problem with
I got plenty to say. I'm just trying to get my partner in.
Oh yeah. Well, the problem with the first 5 minutes with Christoph.
Just say I concur.
As great as it is, the movie is not.
There's no problem with it. Don't even try.
Well, listen,
you think there's a problem with that first monologue?
Well, no, I'm not saying that there's a problem with the first monologue.
Come on, Andrew.
What I'm saying is there's a problem with the rest of the movie.
There is nothing that you could ever do.
To quite get to
anyone
that,
could ever do.
It's not able to quite get to that first monologue in the movie. Yes, the first monologue.
Daniel Day-Lewis might not be able to get to that level, man. Come on. That was
I need to help out here. Okay, so when you think of Inglourious Basterds, you think of two things. You think of that opening sequence, and you think of the bar scene. Other than that, everything, and you think of the Hitler scene at the end because it changes history and it's fun. But other than that, you have the whole side story with Shoshana and the German soldier. Which, if you take that out of the movie, other than the fact that it's a plot device and it's just builds on to the Hitler thing, that part is irrelevant. No one cares about that story. Shoshana, her character's boring. You think you could have did so much with that and added more tension. The only tension you had of her being, Christoph Waltz's character being there from when she was young and at the dinner scene with the pie. Other than that, it doesn't. There's no stakes. You didn't feel that her character is relevant. You didn't know anything about
Christoph Waltz walk in.
She wasn't interesting. She was bored. Who cared about her theater? And then you had the actor he was just a douchebag, and yeah, that's a German thing, and that was part of the character. But you don't care if you took that out of the movie for a 2.5 hour movie. If you take that half hour of side stories out of it, that movie would be even better. But it has so much into it. It's 2.5 hours, and it doesn't need to be. So if all you really have is that opening scene, and you have the bar scene, and then you have a bunch of fluff scenes in it, the movie is called The Inglourious Bastards. But other than Brad Pitt and the Bear Jew, you don't even care about any of those. You couldn't even tell me their names.
I like Sam Levine.
What's his character name?
Listen,
exactly.
Man,
you don't care. I'm just saying. The point is, you don't care about those characters. The movie's called The Inglourious Bastards. You need to know everything and love the whole group. You know, Mr. White, Pink, Orange, all of them.
Okay.
That's because those are colors. I can remember
Reservoir
colors.
Dogs is a tighter movie as well. You know, it doesn't fuck around. You know, everything is very important in the movie.
Okay, time.
Sorry, I had to get so much in there because he kept going. I was hoping Andrew would just go in there, but I'm like, all right, I need to hurry up. We got so much to say. We let him talk.
I'm gonna have on every question. I'm okay with it. As long you guys are arguing, that's the good part of this. So that was a great fight. Like
I would say I was more talking at them, and then they just kind of.
I know. I was just like, God damn, Andrew, you saw me. I'm like, come on, come on,
Andrew. Come on. Have closing arguments, guys.
Come on,
do it. Do it.
Do it. Come on, do it. All right, Mike, you probably should take closing arguments.
Yeah, I can do the closing. 5 minutes. Are we going first for closing arguments?
I have no idea who's going first. Yeah. I forgot this thing was live.
Mike or Madeeh, you guys are going first.
Okay, I can end it. Okay, so when you think of Quentin Tarantino in general, you think of cinema. You think of his love of cinema, and there's only one Quentin Tarantino movie that really shows his love of cinema, and that's Inglourious Bastards. It's the whole Shoshana scene of showing her own the theater, using the reels, the little tight shots of her putting the reels together. It's the Bear Jew. It's Eli Roth, one of his most amazing performances ever as a Bear Jew. Not only it has the greatest opening of any Quentin Tarantino movie, and maybe of a lot of movies out there, one of the greatest opening sequences of all. And they kill fucking Hitler. How could you not love that? Okay, they kill fucking Hitler. You cannot deny that is awesome, because if you deny it, that means that you hate Jews. You cannot deny it. Kill fucking Hitler. Okay.
There's too many people out there who might be on that side right now that you can't kill Hitler.
All right, guys. Andrew or Henry, which one of you wants to close it out?
It's up to you, Andrew. I got stuff I can say, but if you got some, you can go ahead.
If Henry's more comfortable closing, Andrew did get enough into the fight that I'll let him sit if Henry wants to close.
If you have a lot to say,
Andrew, say I concur.
Go. Okay, I'll go. All right.
Because you have a lot to say.
So we're talking about tension. The scene with Mr. Blonde and the cop, that is one of the most intense scenes, and it's entertaining because it shows that he's just a psycho. He literally says, he's like, I'm not going to, I don't care what you got to say. I'm not going to torture you because I need to. I torture you because I have to. And that just shows his insanity. And the whole point of that movie is it didn't show the heist. It didn't show anything. So it has the question of what really happened. What are these guys capable of? So the subtleties that it shows that the scene where it was like when they're talking about shooting people and there was like, oh, you tagged a couple of cops. Did you shoot any real people? It shows that they're so insensitive. They're terrible people, but you love them for some reason because they're just so charismatic, because that just shows in the writing of how strong Tarantino's writing is. And the only time I'm going to say this is the fact that he was able to do that out of the gate in his first one just shows how strong it is and just shows his abilities, because no one can disagree that Quentin Tarantino characters are great. So we're not even going to go there, but the writing of the characters, of how you show the backstories of the relationship between Mr. Blonde and Joe and nice guy Eddie, and it just shows, because that plays in towards the end where it's like, are you trying to tell me that a guy that served 4 years and he didn't say a word and all he had to do was snitch, that he would have got out? You're going to say that he's trying to double cross us now? How strong that was, because showing that scene with them, that really built that up, and it proved that, oh, at no second did he even think that Mr. Blonde turned, and then it went on to Mr. Orange and everything, and then the relationship that Mr. Orange and Mr. White have built up through the entire movie, and then at the end, spoiler alert, he still shoots him just because he finds out that he's a cop, because at the end of the day, they have a moral code, and they're just terrible people, because you're supposed to like them, but you end on a bad note, because he still killed him, even though he could have, had some justice, because that's what Tarantino does. He has the balls to do it. You had the balls to kill Hitler, that's fine, but that's all fantasy. The entire movie of Reservoir Dogs, especially that final scene, that's more realistic, because that's how a criminal really would. They'd be like, all right, fuck it, this guy's a cop, I'm gonna kill him anyway, even if these 7 cops are gonna shoot me dead. So I'll risk my life just so I can kill a cop because of morals. And that's how we roll. Reservoir Dogs.
All right, closing arguments, guys. Subrath, you have anything to fact check from that fight?
Pretty sure Nazi killers would kill Nazis regardless.
I don't
by the
think
way.
there's anything to fact check. Everyone seems to be on point.
Goddamn right.
Yeah. It
So,
was a really good argument.
We know our Tarantino. What's up? Watch out.
that is clear. So,
I love
okay, so
Tarantino.
here's my.
By the way, both of these movies are great. We're not like
So
arguing,
great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, that's why I tried not to knock it as much as possible. I had to
don't wanna
go
say
that
nothing
side
bad,
scene.
bad,
Yeah.
though.
All right, so
You didn't even mention the ear scene, man. I was like, when's he gonna say it?
I know. I saved that for the end. That's why I was like, Andrew, let
Yeah.
me do it because we didn't talk about it. I'm gonna drop that mic and hopefully. So we'll see if it worked.
here's where I'm at with this. Okay,
This
so
might be my.
be prepared to dislike me a little bit more. I have not seen either of these films. To be fair,
Oh shit!
it's on my Netflix.
How old are you?
Say what? Say what?
17.
Are you old enough to see these movies?
I don't think
Yes.
he is.
Like your parents have restrictions
All
on
right,
it?
this is just my suggestion. You can throw this out or not. What movie are you more interested? If you had the two Blu-rays right in front of you, and based on this argument, which one are you going to watch first? I feel like that's the best way to judge this.
Maybe answer that after you give your answer.
No, I think that's the best way to judge this because who persuaded you?
Jesus, I'm getting there. Hold on. Okay, so okay, never mind. As somebody who has not seen either of these films, and to be fair, Inglourious Basterds is actually on my Netflix queue. I just decided not to watch it so that it would be fair for this fight, because I didn't want to have the bias of it going in. But
You don't watch Reservoir Dogs and Glorious Bastards and be like, oh yeah, no, I've seen both.
both of you guys gave great defenses of your movies. You guys both teams clearly have a love for their film, and you guys all clearly love Tarantino because I noticed you guys were trying not to hit back. But here's where I'm coming in. Okay? The two biggest hitbacks that Andrew and Henry had against Madeeh and Mike were that the movie is only really memorable for about 2 or 3 scenes, and 2 of the scenes he mentioned were the opening scene and the Hitler scene, were the 2 scenes that Madeeh and Mike went off on. And the other one was that you don't care about the entirety of the group of the Inglourious Bastards, with the 2 Henry naming were Brad Pitt and the Bear Jew, which I believe is the Eli Roth character, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm factually correct on that. Bear Jew is the one that Mike talked about at the end, and when Henry asked you to name who Sam Levine's character was, you couldn't name him just because you like Sam Levine. I'm going to have to give the point to Henry and Mike because I think they hit that.
Shit.
There's specific points.
I'd been pissed if we would have missed a Tarantino question, Andrew.
So would I.
And I didn't go on that little tangent trying to like talk. I was just saying like as a judge, that's the way I would go about it. Like that's a good way. If you've never seen a movie, that's a good way. But yeah, good fight, guys. I was nervous.
Yeah, so was I.
Yeah, but like the reason I can give it to them is because you guys both gave good defenses and both gave good hitbacks. But when you're two,
No one really argued against the other one.
we're part of the defensive. I have to give it to you guys.
Yeah.
All right, but once again, great fight, guys. So we're already halfway through this battle, just about. We're going to go on to the 4th question. What Oscar-winning film deserves a sequel? And the example we're using is later this year. We have the Richard Linklater film Last Flag Flying that's being released, which is a sequel to the Oscar-winning film The Last Detail. But my preface for this film was it had to be at least 20 years old and won one of the major Oscars, picture director, any of the writing or any of the acting awards. So we're going to go ahead and let Andrew and Henry go first. Which one of you wants to open for this?
Andrew, I'll let you go ahead because I've taken lead on the last 2.
Okay. So we.
Way to ditch this one on him.
He was confident. I got confident. I got faith in my teammate.
I got faith in myself too. Okay. We ended up choosing The Graduate, and we decided to take this in one particular direction and have it be 5 years later, and have it be a dark thriller. And it's going to be sort of a revenge story. And that's all I got to say for my opening for now.
So what? He's gonna like get revenge on?
It's
What?
Oh,
Hold up! I have so many more questions than I have answers right now.
That's the point.
So, Madeeh or Mike, which one of you wants to open?
Oh, you want me to open?
Yeah, sure. Go
Oh,
for
you
it.
Yeah,
said on
okay,
your,
so-
on your partner?
We chose Forrest Gump 2, FG2.
Nobody wants to watch the first one.
Everyone wants to watch the first one. Shut up for my opening statement, asshole. So what we did was this is going to
Bruh.
take place a little bit time after 9/11. Forrest Gump's son is going to be joining the army, so he decides to go with Forrest Gump on the ultimate road trip. That's all I'll say for now.
All right. So to answer your question, it's a thriller because two reasons. One,
I didn't start the argument yet.
I'm sorry, I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight.
Let's go!
Fight.
Down and out, goddammit.
Fighting.
Because
Control
this is
yourself.
because this is a pitch round, you guys are also partially pitching your films as well as arguing back against it. We're going to extend. I'm going to give you guys 6.5 minutes to argue this one out.
Watch out.
Because we need that much more time. Oof.
But he's just hungry as fuck.
I'm hungry for this W.
I am really hungry right now.
Are you gonna eat some watermelon, Madeeh?
Just
Damn
lick
right
your
I will.
shirt. All right, come on. We digress again. Let's do this, freaks.
Stay on target.
Let's fight.
The target.
Oh, you did?
Stay.
All right.
Fear of blood.
So are we pitching first? How does this work? Are we pitching first and then like we argue afterwards, or like do we just go into it?
Just
If
pitch
you-
and argue at the same time. Fight.
Yeah.
All right, what's it? All right. So the way we're seeing this is we're gonna have the cast all come back. All the surviving cast come back. We have Tom Hanks reprising the role that won him his Oscar. We have Haley Joel Osment, who's probably gonna have to lose some weight, unfortunately for him, I guess. I don't know. And he's gonna be his son coming in and going towards the military. We have Lieutenant Dan come back because Gary Sinise has not really had a solid role except for CSI, I guess, in the last like 20 years that I can remember. Apollo 13 a little bit, but so we haven't really seen a lot of him, so we want him to come back as well. This movie will basically be a father-son road trip drama of Forrest seeing his son fully grown to a point where he's now a man. Forrest, unfortunately, at the end of the last movie, we saw him say, is he smart? Like, he knows that he's not mentally capable of being as much of a father as he should be, and we see the tolls that that's taken on the family as they've grown older. So we'll have them go on this road trip towards wherever the army base is that Haley Joel Osment is going to be heading to, and this will lead to some father-son drama with Forrest trying to teach his son about what is going to happen out of war. He has that experience from Vietnam, and he's going to have to try and talk to him about what he's going to see, even though he has absolutely no idea what's going to happen. War is so much different than it was from when Vietnam happened. And when you bring Gary Sinise's character into it, who still doesn't have his legs, he's going to be the real one who brings that scene, probably in the middle where it's like, war is shit.
All right,
You're going
so
to have to go out there and you're going to have to deal with what happens. And it's going to be a really heartwarming story that the first Forrest Gump didn't really end up being, for me personally, where it was just like, all right, we saw a guy run, we saw him go to war, we saw him lose his friend, and then he got rich. This one is going to be more based on pulling on your heartstrings and focusing on what a father-son drama can be like, kind of like in the way that I Am Sam, except 20 years later.
okay, so here's how I want to argue that. You automatically
keep talking about
automatically contradict yourself in two ways. One, you say you want to bring back most of the characters. Spoiler alert for Forrest Gump. Bubba's dead. Jenny's dead. His mom's
That's
dead.
two people.
His mom's dead.
All right,
The three
listen.
most inspirational characters for Forrest himself are dead. Bubba, I need to do this for Bubba. He
Which is
got
why
into
it's gonna be
shrimping
even
because
more
of Bubba. Everything with Jenny, and especially running, that was Bubba. His mama, she just run. That's all Jenny and his mama. So
And that
And
shows
now
his
it's gonna be
growth by
him.
being able to get past that. It shows his
being
growth.
able to get
no, that's
past the
and then
death
here's
of
my
those
second
three
point where it
people.
contradicts
When you
itself.
have
The
Lieutenant
only
Dan
reason
come back, who was
the-
the only person who knew him from back then that's still
Yeah,
alive.
but here's the
is
other
gonna
reason
be,
how
I
you
knew your
contradict
father
yourself.
when he was a
The
war
only
hero.
reason
I
that Forrest
saw
Gump
him at
works
his
is because
greatest.
he's just a guy that does. He's just a guy that does things. So if you're having him as a strong character, that contradicts
And
things.
now
not
he's
even
going to be a
Forrest Gump
guy who
anymore.
does things as a father.
Where did he get
It's
this
gonna be the
growth?
same
Where did
thing.
he get this? Where did he get the capabilities of growing? If he's a grown man like he is in Forrest Gump in his 30s or 40s, whatever he
We
is.
didn't say he was growing. We said that he's trying to be the best father he can be, even though
Yeah, but
he
that
knows
but you're
in
saying that
his
he's
heart
gonna
that he
fight in
can't
wars
be.
and they're going on this trip. He's not. He's
not.
gonna
No,
put-
he's not
not
fighting.
going.
His son is
His
fighting.
son is about
Yeah,
to
but
go fight in
okay,
the war
but you said they were
that
going
no
on a
one
trip
wants to be
together,
in.
and he's not going to be capable of handling things. It's
I-
gonna be.
I-
It's either going to be a downer or it's going to be a parody. It's not going to work. It's not going to make any sense at all.
I feel
Bringing
like
it down doesn't make it a bad movie.
the expectation for this movie would be too high, considering the first Forrest Gump is considered one of the greatest movies of all time. That
Or
Tom
one of the
Hanks-
worst from some people. It's either or. There's no middle. So it's not.
Well,
gonna,
yeah.
Listen, nobody's
It's
asking.
either
for
gonna
exactly
it's either gonna not live up to the standards or it's yes. Are you serious? All right. So here's what my thing with we went dark and gritty.
You want to set it 5 years later when like all the actors are like now in their 60s and 70s or dead?
No,
Like,
it's
none
5
of
years
them are
later
gonna be
from
able
at
to
the
come back.
time. It's not pitching a sequel now. It's pitching a pretend sequel based on if it happened 5 years
So you're
later.
gonna recast everyone?
No, it's based on if it was in 1972, 5 years after the 1967 Graduate. That's how it's going. It's fictional. That's how we're doing. Anyway, you're getting me off my point.
But who are you putting in it?
It's all the same people because it's 5 years later. Do you not understand? It's common sense.
No, this is what I'm trying to.
It's a 1972 movie.
Benjamin Button thing.
No, it's a 1972 movie.
Listen,
this movie's happening in 1972.
Now it's as if we were releasing it back 5 years later after the first movie came out.
Yeah.
That probably did come out and went straight to DVD.
Anyway, so here's the point is,
yes, who better fact check that shit?
So Ben.
Go ahead. I guarantee you, I'm right.
So Benjamin, he sleeps with Mrs. Robinson, and he's got to deal with the conflict of Elaine, who he's now married or getting together. We don't even know if they got married. They just ran away in the bus, so we're gonna find that out.
They didn't look that happy together.
That's the point. That's the point of the story.
So
that's
what?
why it's a dark thriller because you got them regretting each other, but they both don't know what they're doing with their lives. So they said, all right, we're gonna stick it out. We're just gonna go with it. They hate each other, but they're sticking with it because it's in the early 70s. That's just how they rolled. If you're with somebody, you stay with them, and that's an unfortunate situation, but that's how it goes. And then you have Mrs. Robinson and Mr. Robinson. You saw that scene when Mr. Robinson visited Benjamin at his apartment, and he got all mad, and he had I think it was fact check on that if you need to, but I think he had a gun or he's gonna hurt him, but he was angry, he was pissed, and he already has that built up. So 5 years later, now that he's married his daughter, he's even more mad because now he's like, you slept with my wife, you married my daughter, you're taking my family away from me. So now you got the Robinsons fighting, you got Elaine and Benjamin. They just don't get along. You have everything going on together, and it's just it's a drama.
You're basically
thriller.
pitching Taken 4 with Mr. Robinson taking revenge.
No, I never said anything about anyone getting taken. No, it's not even like that.
The best part one of the best parts of The Graduate was the fact that the ending was so you don't know what's going to happen.
I know, but that's why we're going in a dark way.
If you reveal what happened, that takes away from the original movie.
No, because now we're going in a dark way. Because now you need to. It's showing a lesson to people. It's showing a lesson to people that you can't always act on instincts. And this was with thing for Forrest Gump. That's all Forrest. That's all Forrest. No, because it didn't show. We're showing the repercussions they have if you act on instinct. Like in Forrest Gump, when you act on instincts, you win ping pong championships. You save people in the war. It shows that acting on instincts or just doing is only positive. We're showing that if you act on instincts, you can have negative repercussions, whether it's emotional, mentally, physically.
I would not say that's a positive.
I think
exactly that's the point. We're showing that it's a negative. Where in Forrest Gump, it only shows that it's positive. Yeah. Oh, you got one, and that's still it's a heroic. He won a medal. He got to meet the president twice. He got a college scholarship for being on a football team for just doing that. It shows if you just ran on a football field because you're really fast, you're not going to win a scholarship. You're not going to be playing in college. If you join the army, you're probably going to die. And especially the way that he went about things, it's not realistic. It doesn't show.
And we're gonna end
it's
up
a movie. It's not supposed to be realistic. It's a movie.
And people
I know, but you're trying to have it. You're trying to have it on the character. If you have heart, there's no stakes. It's no way. It doesn't work. The character just does things, and it's not likable. And you just like everything with Finding Dory. You liked Finding Dory in Finding Nemo for the first time because of that character. But then when you did it again, you didn't like it as much. You got annoying. You can't do it twice, especially as an older man. When he's in his,
I didn't even like the characters in The Graduate the first time.
You love the characters.
I think the performance
it's more relatable. It's when you don't know
Mrs. Robinson because I thought she was fine.
you have that seductress wife who doesn't know how to handle her life, so you understand why she would go and do this with Benjamin, because the rich wife, she's not getting the attention that she needs, so she seeks out and she's the younger man who seems vulnerable, so she takes advantage of him, and then she instantly regrets it when he falls in love with her daughter, and then she says, if you marry, and then she lied and said the rape, so she already shows that she can get dark. She said that Benjamin raped her, so she shows that she get dark. So in the sequel, it gets even more darker. You get the police involved, you get potential murders, and you get.
It's not going to take 5 years for them to find this boy. This boy is going to be.
Whoever said that they're hiding, they're in a marriage, they're together, but it takes 5 years to really snap.
If she's called him out,
if you see how many times do you ever see it? Nobody snaps right away. It takes building up. It's going to take 5 years to really build it up.
And having murders, that's if you had the classic that is The Graduate. Having them fucking murdering each other, it makes no sense. There's no way that this
doesn't work with the story of the original.
It's so believable because it builds up. Like I said, you have Mrs. Robinson. She's on edge. She's willing to lie and go to crazy. She could even say that he tried to murder her. She could, slash her face up or do something. And,
so basically, she's just gonna bring back what she did the first movie. You're just gonna do a rehash of what she did the first movie by lying.
This is like if you end up doing a sequel to Independence Day. Like you ruin the original and it doesn't end up. It makes the original worse.
It would be the same thing as if you did a sequel to Forrest Gump. You're gonna
No,
ruin
Forrest Gump.
everything about the first
We're not
It did
changing
not
the
end
story.
on a clear
We're
ending.
showing a father-son bond that has not been shown, that they didn't really get to show on screen. When
Yeah,
that
and
movie
it's
ended,
gonna
I
be
was
inappropriate. It's either not gonna work. Just the same thing with, like you said in I Am Sam. He couldn't even take care of his child, so it's gonna be a sad movie.
which is why it's being a
You're
sad
not- you're
movie
not-
doesn't make it worse.
Yeah, but you're not
Yes.
you're not pitching a
as hell,
sad
and
movie. You're pitching a movie that's supposed to be a fun adventure movie, and that's not what you
I didn't
pitch.
pitch it as
And
a fun
the
adventure.
story
I
does
pitched it as
not
something
it
that's
does
gonna
not
have drama,
blend. It does not
and they're
gonna
gonna
work.
go
It's time,
and
guys.
talk about
Time.
life
Yeah,
as an
it's
adult.
time.
This is going to be the first time that his son is an adult and making a decision on his own, and then they end up going together and Forrest seeing how his dad was.
He's on a computer. He's on his phone, so he doesn't see that.
Oh,
I don't
Oh,
see
he's
nothing.
saying time.
come on.
Screw you. Mute me. I dare you.
No, I'm not gonna be.
The
Yeah, so I'm
joke
gonna keep
is
on
because
talking.
we're all on computers. He wrote time in the chat, and you don't see it because you're on your phone. I'll give you
Nah, I
credit
don't
for
see
that.
it. Screw
I'll give
it.
him credit for that. I remember.
Okay, all right.
Lieutenant Dan forever, bro.
Okay, so
He doesn't even have legs. He can't fight nobody.
one more.
He doesn't need to.
You're
Yo,
gonna
hold
turn
up.
this
Hold
into a
up. I'm gonna keep
sci-fi
going.
movie.
I'm gonna keep going.
Henry and Andrew, which one of you wants to do your closing argument?
Andrew, go ahead. I
All
got
right,
faith in
because
you,
I
buddy.
got something. All right, see, the problem with doing a Forrest Gump sequel is the expectations are going to be way too high. The expectations are going to be way too high for the performance, and I just don't think Tom Hanks is just going to meet those expectations, and the movie is just not going to meet those expectations. And the problem with doing a Forrest Gump sequel is that it's completely unnecessary. I just don't think that a road trip movie with Forrest Gump would work. I just think it would be a clashing of styles, really, and I just don't think it would work. It just wouldn't be interesting. While with ours, it's a lot more necessary. You can make it very interesting in the direction that we're taking it, making it 5 years later, making it a dark thriller, and just Forrest Gump 2 is completely less needed than The Graduate 2.
All right, do you mind if I close this out?
Oh yeah, go ahead, man. I can
I
tell
gotta
you
get some
want to
stuff
go
off
for
my
it.
chest.
Do it, man.
Jesus Christ. All right. First of all, your idea for The Graduate 2 pretty much ruins the first Graduate movie. That is not something you want to do with a sequel. You want to encourage the story and push it forward. With Forrest Gump, what we're trying to do is show that Forrest, as a father, is trying his best to be the father that his son needs, but knowing at the same time he can't do it. When he goes to meet Lieutenant Dan in the movie, Lieutenant Dan is someone who tells Forrest Jr. who his father was. Lieutenant Dan is the only one who really knew who his father was, and he talks about it and says, your dad was one of the bravest men I've ever met, even though he wasn't smart. The fact that he did all this just because he loved a woman proves how much of a good man he is. The most heartbreaking line in the first movie, as whatever you think of the first movie, the most heartbreaking line is when Tom Hanks, in possibly I'd say his second best overall performance, was when he said, is he smart, to Jenny. Knowing that shows, I know what I am, and I don't want the same fate for my son. I want my son to be better. That is what this movie is building off of, that emotion that he wants his son to be better than who he was. He wants his son to succeed. He wants his son to be a good man the way that he knows good men can be. He doesn't want him to be like Robin Wright's character's father. He wants him to be the way he was, or better, and he wants him to be the way his mother was to him. He wants his son to be a good man, and his son going off to war, he doesn't know what's going to happen, and he wants this possibly last opportunity, to make sure that he's done right by his son.
All right, and
Oh yeah, and real quick. I
Can
gotta
I
say
ask
this
a
real quick.
question? Can I
Henry,
just ask it?
opening and closing statements, man. You gotta stop talking or typing shit in there. Come on, dude. We're
I
not doing
mentioned
it
that.
for you, don't do it for us.
Because he just established what I said earlier, but I just want to make sure you don't
Yeah, but
forget
that's the
what I
thing.
said.
You can't bring it up on closing statements, dude.
Okay,
That's
okay.
only one person talking at a time.
Mike and Henry. Henry, you get one line. Mike, you get one line.
I just have one question. I'd be willing to give them more time if they can answer this. You're saying it's a road trip movie, but how does it end? Like, what's the point? You're getting the point.
It
You're
ends
saying-
with
you gotta buy a
his son
ticket.
going to war. It ends with his son going into war.
Well, what is the lesson learned? That's my thing. Like, what is the point? There's no real point.
Go see the movie.
See, that's our point is it's a thriller. You already know what's gonna happen. You're gonna have tension. You're gonna have drama. You're gonna have action. You're gonna have fighting. People
Listen,
may
if
or
I
may
was
not
gonna
get
tell you
killed.
what happens at the
Like,
end of every movie I pitched, I wouldn't do well as a screenwriter. Like, straight up, what we're saying is going to happen at the end.
But
of the
your
movie
idea is just so vague. Like, there's nothing. No one can even guess where this could potentially lead. That's my point. With mine, you can at least.
It's going to lead to a point where
even if mine's
his son
semi-cliche, you at least know where it's going to go. You have no idea where it's going to go, and that's the point of a
If I was to pick
pitch.
a plot line out of my head right now and say this is how it ends, it would be with Forrest Gump Jr. looking at his dad as he's getting on the plane and said, "Dad, I love you. I know you did the best you could, and I'm so proud of you for doing that." And then he gets on the plane, and then that's it.
But that doesn't. I don't see where the point of the movie to get that. You know, a dad, most sons are going to say that before they leave off for war, and that's all.
Not every son. Listen,
most sons are going to say
for-
that before they leave off to war. That's all. That's
I don't
I'm
know
done.
enough sons who went to war.
I'm mute.
Time for everybody.
Fine.
And sorry, Mike, for writing. I was just making a point that
No,
hey.
no, I've
Always
just
a
bringing it up
watermelon,
because you've been
goddammit.
doing that the past like 3 arguments. That's why I wanted
No,
to
that was
bring
the
it up.
first time I've ever said. Oh, I may have said stuff.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. You've been saying stuff. Yeah.
I hear the point that everybody's making. I understand the point that you guys are trying to make. I'm gonna side with Madeeh and Mike on this one.
All right.
Okay? Because even though
I'm all right with that.
I think Madeeh's pitch at the end does show the point of why their movie is getting made, because it's showing that, you know, Forrest is still the same character at heart. He just has more responsibility and understands what he has to do, and I get where he's going with it. I do understand what he's trying to say. I'm going to give them the points.
All right, that round's over now.
Yeah, that round is over.
Thank
Can I just
God.
say that was an awful question?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
I
I,
really
Yeah,
hate
it really
that
was.
question so much. If I had to pick, I wouldn't see any of these movies.
that was so
Straight
much
up.
yeah, for
bullshit.
real.
That was so much bullshit. That's why I got so mad. I'm like, God damn it.
So I don't want to see a sequel to any of these movies. Jesus.
Yeah.
Shawshank
Leave 'em
Redemption
alone.
2, Morgan
And
Freeman, Tim
just to
Robbins,
fact check
Son of
that.
a Beach.
Redemption 2.
Any fact checks.
Yeah, like both of these
Probably a
movies
lot.
have had sequels planned for them.
Have they actually?
That's
Good
good.
lord.
Yeah, Madeeh, I don't know if you know this, there's actually a Forrest Gump 2 book. The author of the original book did write a sequel.
Even the
What, does it
Graduate,
involve his son going
Was
out
it-
to war?
also has a book.
What's it called? Swamp Gump?
I mean,
And
I
what is
don't
mine
read
called?
much. I don't know if it's evident or not, but I don't read very much.
What is mine called? Night School?
no, it's called Homeschool. Homeschool, the sequel to Graduate.
Actually, I've heard of
It's a
that.
novel.
I've
It's a
heard that
novel.
name.
Damn, I said Night School just as a fucking joke.
Jesus, Lord Almighty!
All
Can't
right,
people come up with original ideas? Like, what is this?
going on to the next
This
question.
idea we came up with on Facebook is like, all right, we gotta answer this question. Let's just do it.
All right, going on to the next question. By the way, can I say, ironically, how much your idea of a road trip movie relating to war sounds like Last Flag Flying, the movie that was referenced in the question?
I don't even know what Last Flag Flying is.
I didn't either.
Oh,
Hey,
okay, that's
fucking
ironic.
cheaters.
I didn't research this question at all. I just said, all right, what Oscar movies came out 20 years ago? Jesus,
Okay,
Lord
cool.
Almighty.
Okay. So going on to the next question, question number 5. What 2 actors known for comic book movie roles should team up in a non-comic book movie like Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson did in The Hitman's Bodyguard? Now, I'm going to preface this before we go into the fight. There is one answer that clearly has actors more known for their comic book movie roles than the other would, but we accepted both answers. So we're just going to stick with that.
We didn't get no
Mike,
complaints.
which one of you wants to open?
Wait, are we going first?
Wait.
Are we going first?
Yeah, you guys are first.
Oh, okay. We did have like a little bit of a pitch for this movie. So when we thought of this movie, we thought of, all right, which 2 actors do we want from a comic book role to work together? And we weren't really sure where we wanted to go with it. And then when we figured that out, we figured, all right, we want to have Kurt Russell and Amy Adams working together in a movie. The reason we chose these 2 is, first of all, Amy Adams is absolutely phenomenal in every single thing she's done. Even in Enchanted, which was like a kind of kiddie movie, I really liked, and she was really good in it. It wasn't like we're making a Disney princess. She was really good movie. And then you go to what she's done lately, where with her, like, 5 Oscar nominations now, I think. Arrival and everything else she's done in the last, 5 to 10 years. She is absolutely one of the greatest actresses right now. And having her in a movie is always a great thing. When we said Kurt Russell, the first thing that popped in my mind was, this is a guy from the 80s who hasn't really had a chance to be in a dramatic role and really show his chops in a dramatic role before. He's had a lot of those kind of campy movies like Escape from New York and Escape from LA and then Big Trouble in Little China. I mean, they're kind of cool 80s movies, but they're not heavy drama movies. So we want Kurt Russell and Amy Adams to kind of play a strange father-daughter situation and show that both of them are as phenomenal as we all know they are.
Go ahead, Andrew. You
I'm
got
done,
this.
so you guys can go.
You know, obviously, we went with the two most obvious choices you can go with: Chris Pratt and Tom Hardy, two phenomenal actors who I think if you put them in a movie today, that they would have great chemistry, and just they're big name guys, you know, and I think that they would just work very well together.
All right. So the reason with Tom Hardy and Chris Pratt is going to show that both of them have shown that they can be in a team. And Tom Hardy in Inception, he shows that he can have the action and he can be charismatic. He shows that even if nobody knows him, because most people are like, oh, who's that guy in Inception? And he's real good. That's when he was becoming well known. So he's shown that he can be low key and still not have to steal the show, but he can steal the show without being the main actor. And then he showed in This Means War, regardless of what you think of the movie, he showed that he can have chemistry with another person, with Chris Pine, and they can with action, low key action, because it's a rom-com, but he has action movies. Even in the paintball scene, which I did see This Means War, and I like it. You have the paintball scene where he's shooting people, and he's like, oh yeah, beginner's luck. So he shows that he can be low key. He doesn't have to be over the top. He shows that he can speak without. He doesn't have to have his voice covered, because in This Means More, you mean everything he says. He's charismatic. He's charming. And then you have Chris Pratt. He's shown that he has growth. He was the fat guy on Parks and Recreation. He shows that he becomes Star-Lord. He's part of a group as well. So he shows that he can have teamwork. He was in Moneyball. So once again, he shows that he can be a side character, but still steal the show and still have acting. You just have depth to his characters. So putting them together, they both have comedic roles, and they've both shown that they can be dramatic at the same time. So putting him in an action comedy, maybe by like Edgar Wright or like Shane Black, shows that they can handle dialogue, they can handle characters, they can become their own characters, and they can have a lot of fun with it. So putting them together would be awesome. And plus, they're well-known characters. But when you see them, you don't initially see Chris Pratt and be like, oh, that's only Star-Lord. Or you don't see Tom Hardy and be like, oh, that's only Bane. They've shown that they can blend, and they can become multiple characters. So putting them in an action franchise or just even a one-off, it shows that they can be their own characters. Or you don't just look and be like, oh, that's Tom Hardy, or oh, that's Chris Pratt. So they show that they can, not necessarily Camille, because they don't really dress up, or other than in Star Trek Nemesis, which we won't talk about. But I
got an argument against that, man. Chris Pratt, I really do see as him doing the same thing over and over again in every one of his roles. I mean, he had Parks and Rec, which he was great in. But then ever since that, it's just been, I'm doing Star-Lord. Now I'm doing the Jurassic World Star-Lord thing. And now I'm doing the Passengers Star-Lord thing. And it's basically been the same thing over and over.
No,
and over
even
again.
in
I don't
Passengers,
really see him.
Even in Passengers, he didn't do anything like that. He's having fun. It's a guy. He showed that he's an engineer, or he's a lower guy, so that he couldn't even get the coffee, or he couldn't get eggs.
It's him doing the Chris Pratt stick again.
Okay, but when you have Kurt Russell, he does the same thing where he's just, he's just.
No, he doesn't. Kurt Russell does not do the same thing.
He does
Watch
not.
The Thing compared to Big Trouble in Little China. Those are completely different performances.
Yeah, but when you look at Kurt Russell, you only
Russell's
see Kurt Russell. He's just doing different characters, but he's still Kurt Russell.
You only see Chris Pratt. Are you insane? You only see Chris Pratt.
No, when you think of Star-Lord, you think of Star-Lord. When you see him, most people don't even remember he's in Moneyball, but not because his characters are memorable, but just because he doesn't look like he lost the.
Because people like Brad Pitt more in that movie.
No, his character was great. I had a trivia, and people knew that it was Scott Hatterberg as Chris Pratt. Like, people know that he's in there, and then you have him in small roles in like Her. When he was in Her, he had a mustache. He was a side character in Her, but he was the best friend, and you did not at no point did you think, oh, that's Star-Lord. And yeah, it came out before Star-Lord, but you didn't think he was the Park and Rec guy or anything like that. So he shows that he can be his own character
anymore. I just think he's Star-Lord now. Like, I'd give him credit for that. His Star-Lord role is really good. But honestly,
I think that's a crutch where you're like, oh, he's in a franchise. So just like if you like, see James Bond, like, oh, that he's only being James Bond because I'm saying it's just something.
Well, that's not true though, because I think that he's doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, that I don't think that's
not really, because I think that you have guys like Kurt Russell who's very different and very varied in each of his roles. Especially lately, if you say Bone Tomahawk, he is phenomenal in that, and it's such an underseen movie.
Miracle playing the hard ass coach, completely different.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
think that Amy Adams and Russell will have
what is their story? They're just going to be a father-daughter. You said it's going to be a father-daughter weird relationship. What is it going to be, like a sexual thing? It's going to be weird. Like, what do you mean weird?
If you can let me talk for a second, I can tell the story. It's a drama where Amy Adams' mother is on her deathbed, and she says, Amy Adams has never known her father. Kurt Russell has been in prison all this time.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy. That's all you're saying. The mother's on the deathbed, and Kurt Russell's the father. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. You're pitching Guardians of the Galaxy. You're
finish the actual pitch of the story. Let me finish.
Just letting you know, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. Remember that.
She finds out it's Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell gets out of prison.
Is he a planet?
No, he's not a planet. Kurt Russell gets out of prison.
Damn, man, let him
and-
finish.
This isn't a pitch. We can go in between now. This ain't the final arguments. We can,
Listen,
Henry,
the-
no.
we're asking him to be in a
We're going to final
drama.
argument, but you guys make your pitches your final arguments. Okay?
That's,
All right.
Okay,
that's
yeah, no, that's good because
Mike,
I'll mute
the
myself
only reason I was
because
trying
you
to is because you were asking me what the thing was. That's the only reason I was trying to say it.
Pitch for your team, Mike. Go ahead.
Wait, is this final argument?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Henry's muted.
it starts with
fuck you. I muted myself out of respect.
Amy Adams'
Respect this.
mother is on her deathbed. She finds out that she has a estranged father. Kurt Russell's in prison. When Kurt Russell comes out of prison, he went into prison for doing a big robbery. He comes out. They have a bad relationship at first, and she's trying to get to know him. He's trying to be good. He's trying to be an actual father. And in the back of the story, a B plot is the fact that he's setting up one last robbery to do. And she ends up figuring out about it, and it kind of estranges their coming on relationship together. And she's trying to figure out what she should do. Should she go with him on this? Should she turn him in? It's that mother of going, has she gotten enough relationship with him to make the right choice? And what is the right choice? It's a straight drama that deals that both of them can pull it off together.
Okay. Andrew and Henry, which one of you wants to make your final argument?
Want to do this one, Henry?
All right. I just want to say one line on yours. So I don't like that because one of two things: either you're either gonna focus too much on the Kurt Russell character and you're not going to give enough depth to Amy Adams, which is not going to have an emotional impact at the end, or you're going to have too much of a balance and it's not going to have enough depth in his character, what he's doing on the side stuff. So either way, if you're doing a two-part character, you're going to, it's not going to be balanced. Someone's going to overshadow someone. If you're having a buddy, you want them to be equals. So with Chris Pratt and Tom Hardy, you're going to have them come up together. They're smart asses. That's what they're doing. So you have them in like a Guy Ritchie type of guy where it's just, they're kind of, in like the slums or, they're kind of like, slumming it. Like maybe Chris Pratt, because you know how he likes to travel around and do random stuff. So maybe he found Tom Hardy's character in an English slum, and they became buddies because they're both sneaky, and then they became partners and they started becoming the Rise, and then they clashed because then Tom Hardy wanted to take over because he's stronger, but then Chris Pratt realized that, oh hey, I can grow and I can become the boss, and then they start clashing in that way. So you see them two random guys who didn't know each other, and then they become friends because they realize that they balance out each other, and then they finally realize that their egos, no pun intended, get really too big and they start conflicting and it becomes a battle. So you focus on both of them at the same time. It's going to have action, have comedy because it's going to be witty. They're going to go back and forth. They're going to be snippy. They don't always have to be shooting each other. They can just be, kind of like in Two Guns. They can be fighting each other and stuff, but they're not shooting and all that stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be action packed and it's going to be small and simple at the same time, though.
Okay. That's time. Subrath, any fact checks necessary for that? Most likely not, but
So fucking mad at the beginning. Can't believe you did that.
got you to fight, didn't it?
I was gonna ready to fight. I just let my partner go first. Jesus Christ.
All right. Subrath, anything?
I'm sorry that I remember doing the
yeah.
first people when we changed it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Jesus Christ.
No, you guys did change it like 20 minutes before the fight started. I was gonna say 20 minutes ago, but that was like round 5. So
Exactly.
20 minutes ago, if it was 2 hours.
That was at the beginning of this round. What do you mean 20 minutes ago?
Okay, so
Jesus.
They're all good, right? I mean, all the arguments, there's nothing really needed to be fact checked. Always good, always fine.
I have a question. This is a serious question. This isn't like my last one. Since you supposedly made up your mind at the beginning of this round, I think you and Subrath should confer on who you pick. Because if you pick them, I was gonna say, because if you pick them, then it seems like you already picked, and if you pick us, then it means you feel guilty. You know what I'm saying? So it's lose. I'm just saying it's lose on your end. So I feel like to make it seem fair, you should ask him, and you guys should talk about it a little bit before you come up with an answer.
I was gonna ask him anyways.
Okay, just making sure.
But also, you should give me better credit as a judge, not to make my mind.
No, I'm not saying me personally, but I'm not saying me personally. I'm not saying me personally, but I'm saying that either way, it's going to look bad on your end.
Dropping that watermelon on you, boy.
Subrath, what did you think?
All right, let's stay professional for the next 5 minutes.
What argument were you behind?
I was more behind into like.
Were you listening? First of all?
Don't interrupt him. His connection sucks.
I wasn't really into what the idea for Kurt Russell and Amy Adams story because I don't see them actually being with each other. Like, to be honest, because I've actually never seen them with each other, so it's really hard for me to see that. As with Chris Pratt and Tom Hardy, I could actually really see that. I could see it happening because both of those people, they're very charismatic. I mean, Tom Hardy, he doesn't talk much, but yeah, if you put Chris Pratt on it, then I'm not. I think I'm more into with Henry and Andrew with this one. What do
Okay,
you
so that's the one that you're gonna back.
Yeah,
Okay. And honestly, even though you can claim whatever you want, Henry, I'm gonna agree with that. I think the pitch was better at the end, and also, outside of the pitches, you guys gave more as to why your people would work together better than I think Madeeh and Mike did. So that's why I'm going to give it to you, because I think both pitches were great and you guys did come up with good ideas for the film. But I think outside of the pitches and the actual argument, more was talked about between Henry and Andrew about why they would work better together than Amy Adams and Kurt Russell. I think Madeeh and Mike did a good job of explaining why individually as actors they're good and could work in a drama, but they didn't necessarily talk about the chemistry they'd have together, which is what Andrew and Henry did hit on. So I'm going to go with them for the point.
All right, fair.
And just one more thing, I didn't say that in the sense of me, my personal thing, just as a viewer audience, because everyone gives shit to Andy Signore, like always biased. So I just wanted to avoid any of that beef,
Wait, this isn't his show?
Suggestion. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying.
Wait,
What am I
Andy
doing
Signore, Aaron isn't really Andy Signore?
I was just a good advice, and you, like I said, all my
Right.
advice you can shoot down and tell me to fuck off. That's fine. I was mad. I would have been mad if you.
I thought this was movie fights.
If you would have shot it out
Damn
and
it.
just been like, "Oh, we're not doing it." That's bullshit. But
I
you
thought
let
this
us
was
fight,
a
so
classic movie
we
fight.
broke even.
Okay, all right. So final question before we head on to the speed round.
Damn, you're not Andy. Jeez.
Question
What's the score? Score check.
3-2 to you guys.
All right.
All right. Question 6, best Johnny Depp Tim Burton collaboration movie. Andrew and Henry, you guys are going to go ahead and go first.
You can go and take this one, Henry.
Okay. So with Johnny Depp and Tim Burton, what you think of is weird, but you don't want to think of too weird. Dark Shadows, Alice of the Looking Glass type of weird. You want just that perfect blend of weird. So you want to put some makeup on them, or you want to have them have a costume and design, but you don't want it to be too over the top. So both of our picks are a good blend of that. So I'm just going to right off the bat and say we're not really going to knock ours on as far as the Dark Shadows, weird, super weird and stupid. Ours are good choices. Where I'm going with Sleepy Hollow, because he has a character where he plays Ichabod. Is he Ichabod? Yeah, he's Ichabod Crane. Sorry, I'm so tired. My mind's everywhere. He's playing Ichabod Crane.
On to hour 7 of the show.
Exactly, and he's got to deal with the story of the Sleepy Hollow and the Headless Horseman and all that stuff. So you have horror, you have fantasy, you have Johnny Depp being in the lead, so it shows that he can handle. And this is right before he hit his misstep, so we got that good blend of maybe the peak, that'd be maybe a good term, the peak of Johnny Depp, Tim Burton. So that's good timing. We didn't just miss that. So you have fun, you have action. It's short, so it's rewatchable. It's it's on Netflix, so it's easily accessible. It's something that people can just throw on as a throwaway movie. Sometimes that's not too bad, because you have a horror movie, because it's not straight up horror. You're not going to get scared, and it's not too much. It's not a parody, because it's not not like a comedy and they're making fun of it. Like, it's taking it seriously, but it's not going too over the top, and it's just a perfect blend. So it can either be a horror movie if you want to watch that, it can be a horror comedy, sometimes it can be a thriller. It has different elements to it, so it's very enjoyable. Johnny Depp's in the lead. Tim Burton, he's not going too far over the top and doing his weird stuff, because he just got done with Batman, so he's kind of like brought down a pitch, because he did do some weird stuff in the Batman franchise, but he hasn't quite gone super weird at the time. So it's a good blend of Johnny Depp and Tim Burton.
All right, Madeeh and Mike, which one of you wants to start?
Do you want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah, I got it. All right. So, as Henry said, both of these movies that we picked are like not the "ooh, look at me, I'm the." What we picked was Edward Scissorhands. The reason we picked this one is we thought that Edward Scissorhands is quite possibly the greatest Johnny Depp performance, one of the better Winona Ryder performances, and probably the best Tim Burton performance on its own, or Tim Burton movie on its own. When we combined all those three and we thought of the movie as a whole, we were like, there wasn't really another option for us of what else could possibly be the best collab. This is their best movie, hands down. Going off what Henry said again, it's not too over the top. It's kind of light. It's dramatic. It's got a little bit of element of horror for it. It's basically Tim Burton doing the Frankenstein story to a point where I don't think any other Frankenstein movie has gone, where it is about this gentle creature that, because of his looks and some deformities, is different and feared by the general public. And it's him dealing with that in a kind of opposite society to what he's used to. And then we'll get more into that as the actual argument begins. This might be our most civil match out of all of them.
because this one it could go either way, and it's gonna there's no.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and fight it out, guys.
I think
Andrew,
the problem.
go ahead.
Okay. I think the problem with Edward Scissorhands is it's
Still going.
really fit. When you think of Tim Burton, you don't think Edward Scissorhands, really.
Really?
Because
That's
Oh, yeah, actually, yes, you do.
Let
That's
me-
the one
let-
thing you
let
think
me-
of.
let me finish.
So much for civil. God damn it.
Let me finish.
That lasted 10
I wasn't
seconds,
done.
right? Listen,
All right.
the first thing you think of when you think of Tim Burton is Edward Scissorhands.
Well, let me. I think of Ed
I'll
Woodland.
also say this. The one scene in Edward Scissorhands, which is better than anything else in Sleepy Hollow for sure, is the scene where Winona Ryder is dancing in the snow that Johnny Depp makes with the ice sculpture. That one scene was so magical the first time I saw it that I was like, this is Tim Burton at his best.
All
Like, he's not going to get any better, and he hasn't, really. If you look at the rest of his movies, the closest he came was probably in Ed Wood at one point, but not really
I don't
that
think
close.
that Johnny Depp's performance in Scissorhands is his best. I think he is.
Really?
Yeah, I
He
think
doesn't-
Name another
he
Johnny
doesn't-
Depp performance.
he doesn't
The only
speak-
Johnny Depp
I mean, he
performances
does-
that have been really good have been Edward Scissorhands, Jack Sparrow the first time, just the first time,
I think he's
and
I think he's better as Jack
probably
Sparrow.
Finding Neverland.
I
In
think
Sleepy
he's-
Hollow, his
Jack Sparrow has become a
his
shtick.
performance is really good. In
Sleepy Hollow was very good, but I do not think it was near the same level where he was
And
on
it just doesn't
Edward
break
Scissorhands.
It was
Edward
the
Scissorhands was the
Tim Burton.
first time that he became not boy
You know,
on
no
21 Jump
offense,
Street.
no offense to Edward Scissorhands, but his performance was good. But if you really think about it, he doesn't say much. He has the makeup on, so the facial expressions it takes away from it. So here's what I'm saying. It honestly could have been anybody if you really think about it. No offense, he did great. But in Sleepy Hollow, you have that character where he's kind of a coward. He's kind of scared. He doesn't believe in the myths and the legends and all that stuff. And we finally see it. You see
That's the same
you're
thing
able to
that
see
he is
it.
in Edward Scissorhands.
No, but that's other people. That's other people dealing with him.
No, he's quiet and he's also reserved and he's not really.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's not reserved in Sleepy Hollow. The character is reserved as far as how he acts. Like he doesn't believe stuff, but he's very vocal in how he's like, oh,
Subrath just ditched.
yeah. He said like, oh, he's so vocal. He doesn't believe things.
So much for facts.
He shows that he is a good detective. He's researching all this stuff,
There
and
he
he's studying all this stuff. But he's scared, but he's also not really believing. You show he's on edge, and it just helps with the facial expressions. So I just feel like it's a jab, but unfortunately, with all the makeup on him, you're not able to really see his expressions.
I don't think
and
the
that could
makeup
have been
takes away
that could have been anybody.
I think in this movie,
A guy
in
who's
this particular
coward
movie,
or
the movie
scared
doesn't
at
take away.
Sleepy Hollow, Scully could have played that role then. Scully's the same fucking character then, and that's not believing in what's going on.
I also
Yeah,
think
but-
that's Winona Ryder's best performance. I think she has done better performances.
Like which one?
I didn't say it was
I
her
thought
best.
she
I
was-
think she.
I think
She was great in Beetlejuice.
I think she's
And-
better in Beetlejuice. I think she's better in
has been other movies
Beetlejuice.
where she's
Andrew,
been
let's not worry about that because the question is the best Tim Burton,
question
Johnny
is
Depp
best
movie.
Tim Burton,
so
Johnny
let's
Depp
not
collab.
go on tangents
Okay,
and start losing
And
opportunity.
it's not
for
about
points.
their individual performances. It's about the best movie.
Yeah, and that
If you ask anyone on the street and you have to ask them to pick between Edward Scissorhands and Sleepy Hollow, 99.9% of the people are going to say Edward Scissorhands. Why?
if you
Because
ask the average
everyone
person, they
combined,
might not
whether
even
you
know
say-
that Tim Burton did Edward Scissorhands because yes,
They might not
it's
even
not
know
his
that
style.
Sleepy Hollow exists
Edward-
if you
Edward
ask a lot of
Scissorhands-
people.
Yeah,
Sleepy Hollow
Yeah, they
exists
won't
because-
know that Sleepy Hollow
It's
exists.
just-
It's
You tell them
because
to pick between two
it's
people.
weird.
because of the Ichabod
The question
Crane,
is
Sleepy
best
Hollow
collab,
story.
right? You go for both of those movies and you say which one of these did you like better. 99% of people are going to say that they liked Edward Scissorhands better.
And this
Why?
is
Because
another
it's a story
another
about
knock on them.
body
They didn't
image.
quite
It's a story about
develop that
fear.
chemistry actor director because it's early, and I don't like using that argument because that's another jab. But they didn't quite. When you think of their best performances together, sometimes the earliest one isn't the best, and that's why because you're not able to get Johnny Depp being Johnny Depp. You're not able
to
to
get the stride on. That movie is still amazing for not even, as you call it, not getting their stride on. That movie is still amazing collaboration between
And look what's happened
two.
since they got their stride on. They've had Alice in Wonderland.
I don't think neither of them stand out.
Was.
When you think of that, you think neither one of you see Johnny Depp's performance as Edward Scissorhands. You don't really see Tim Burton's direction. Anybody could have directed that movie if anything. Other than the weird and creepy stuff.
Stuff was what made that movie such a good movie. There was the clash between
landscapes of suburbia.
Yeah, but then
the clash between what Tim Burton does usually with the big castle and where Johnny Depp was living, compared to like the really prissy 60s, like not prissy, but like the weird 60s vibe that they had for the rest of the city. I think that clash perfectly showed the Tim Burton.
And that's the same thing in Sleepy Hollow. It shows the whole scope of the town. I guess it was not. It's so dark and gritty. You have the trees that move around. You have that bridge and everything. It's just so creepy. You have the fog. Constant fog just has that tone of creepy.
So then
that's more Tim Burton.
When I think of Tim Burton, that's what I think of: the creepiness and the darkness. When I think of Edward Scissorhands. I think of, yes, it's weird.
Light and fun and family.
But
when
it's
you think of Tim Burton, you don't think of family. You think of creepy.
I think Sleepy Hollow
it has some dark moments, but when I think of Tim Burton, I think of dark.
Edward Scissorhands.
No, I think of dark and creepy, and that's exactly what Sleepy Hollow is.
And big set pieces. And
the two movies you think of when you think of Tim Burton are Edward Scissorhands and Batman.
Well, when I think of Tim Burton,
Aaron, you got to get better with your audio. We can never hear you when you're trying to shut us up.
Oh, shut up, everybody.
There we go. I got your back. No pandering. No pandering. I'm just saying, as a fellow host and things,
so
I understand.
What we're gonna do is final.
Nice plug there.
I didn't say what yet.
Final arguments, guys. Mike or Henry and Andrew. Which one of you wants to go for your final arguments?
I liked what Andrew was leading on there. I'll let him finish.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, All right, yeah. Like I've said, when I think of Edward Scissorhands, I don't think Tim Burton. I straight think of Johnny Depp. I think of lightheartedness, fun. When I think of Sleepy Hollow, I think of Tim Burton. I think of Johnny Depp, and I think of Johnny Depp's style, which is dark, creepiness, weirdness, and it's right before you got the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and the Alice in Wonderland, where he did.
That's where it led to.
Yeah, well, it's listen.
See, I understand.
Sorry.
See, you can't judge me now.
Sorry. I'm muting myself.
All right.
I'm gonna eat some watermelon right now.
All right, but as I was saying, it's at the peak of to quote Hal Run, at the peak of their powers or the height of their powers, and it's I think it's when they were at their best.
All right, Madeeh or Mike, which one of you wants to close it out?
I got some more points too, but
you got some more points?
I got some more points, but I think I've probably talked quite a bit, so you get some in there, and then I'll close it out a little bit as well.
Okay, so main thing here, off your point, Andrew, of saying that it's silly and fun for Edward Scissorhands. So him cutting up Winona Ryder and Anthony Michael Hall is supposed to be silly and fun? No, that's some dark stuff right there. And not only that, for the better movie, you have one of the last performances of Vincent Price, and you have Anthony Michael Hall as a role as a teenager that has been doing Breakfast Club and 16 Candles. No one's seen him as a bully. He's completely changed his role. Now, to go back with Johnny Depp and Tim Burton, this is the ultimate Tim Burton movie. There's no one that tops this Tim Burton movie with Johnny Depp as a star, because that's all everyone thinks about. Unless you say Ichabod Crane for Sleepy Hollow, no one's going to know what the hell that movie is. Everyone knows what Edward Scissorhands is, nonstop.
Also, last point, Danny Elfman's score is legitimately iconic in that movie. You can't beat it. That's it. I'm done.
Okay. All right, Subrath, anything to fact check?
Were you there for the entire thing?
He dropped out for a little bit, but
I dropped some really fake facts there, so I'm glad you weren't here to listen to them. But I went fake news all over these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So you do it.
All right.
I'm
I'm
pissed
kidding,
you.
by the
I'm
way. I
pissed
didn't
you
drop
through
fake
that.
news.
I'm pissed you through that Danny Elfman thing at the end because I would have.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
Because that would have
My brother-
triggered me to bring up. I'm not gonna say it yet, but that would have triggered me to bring up some direct points. Those guys. I'll bring it up later. But go ahead.
Jesus Christ. This is.
This one was a good one because
So no facts, right? No facts.
As usual.
no one
facts.
cares. No one cares.
There was no facts in this round. There haven't been any facts for the last 4 hours. How much money have we raised by this, by the way? This is a charity thing, right?
When is the Lord of the Rings gonna start? Jesus Christ!
How much have we raised?
Okay, I fact check.
5.
Oh god damn it, it's your breast talking.
All right, then Seagraff, do you have an opinion on this?
Oh, hey, he's alive.
And he's gone.
Seagraff?
One person's watching, by the way, just one.
Who is it? You?
We still have one viewer?
All right, maybe it's two now because I clicked on it.
Okay, who is it? Ask him
that.
who it is.
Anyways,
Half our viewership.
And only Subrath and Aaron have commented. Damn it. That's all right.
I saw you tag me in it, but I'm on my phone, so I can't, go on both.
All right, come on, get to the point. I'm curious. This
Okay, all right.
was a
Who
good one.
won, damn it?
Yeah, this was a good one.
Shit. Fuck, this is hard. I'm trying to think
That's
back
what
over
she
the
said.
fight in my head, and I wrote some stuff down, but I'm trying to think back in my head.
This is going to be the first argument either way that I don't think either of us is going to get mad about.
Oh, screw it. I'll get mad if I lose.
I'm not
I
talking about
wasted
sword.
so much time to lose here. Jesus. You want to flip a coin on this, man? Come on, hurry up.
I think I'm gonna give it. I think I'm gonna give it to Madeeh and Mike.
Damn it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
I
Another 20 minutes
respect
for the
it.
next round. Tiebreaker.
It was really good. It was really good on both sides, but I don't know why, but their argument is standing more out to me. So when I don't have anything to really go off of, I just got to go with my gut and give them.
You want to know something funny? I haven't seen Edward Scissorhands. I didn't know what to argue. I
haven't seen Sleep Hollow yet.
I had no idea what to fucking
God.
argue.
Honestly, it was very hard for me to argue that because everything they were saying is true.
I know.
So that's
And
what I would argue.
everything I've heard, it's like, God damn it! I didn't know
Yeah,
if
I
it gets
love
dark or
Edward
not.
Scissorhands.
I was like, it's just I don't know how. I just heard one
Like,
time
oh,
that
it's
he
a subtle
doesn't speak
character.
much.
Yeah, that's our guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move into the.
The one thing I wanted to bring up is you're lucky you say that towards the end because I could have brought up we have Danny Elfman as well did our score, which is really
You didn't say it,
creepy.
though.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying you're lucky you brought that, and then we had Robert Emmanuel Lubezki who did the cinematography.
Oh,
The same
yeah.
guy. Yeah, exactly. So it's like fuck. If I would have thought of that, I should have brought all that up. But yeah, good fight, dude. That was great. Good.
So,
fight.
so we're gonna
That was
move
probably
on.
my favorite round.
We're gonna move on to the speed round here. So the way that this is gonna work.
Oh, this is gonna get fun.
The way that this is going to work with teams, here's what we're going to do. So just to make sure, so the way it's going to work is I'm going to give you guys that the genre of the question falls in, and between the two fighters, you get to pick out who's going to argue that question. But you're not going to know what the question is before you fight. You're just going to know roughly what genre it falls into. Okay?
This is going to be so fucked up.
Deal.
All right, and
Yeah.
so what I'm going to do for the first two questions, just to make sure that each person gets a speed round fight, I'm going to give you the first two categories, and you guys decide between you what the strength is, okay?
Fair enough.
So the first one would fall under Disney films, and the second one would fall under comedy.
I'll do Disney.
Yeah,
I
so
would
you're
say
Disney all
I'd do
day.
comedy because Disney, man.
I got 3 younger siblings, bro. I can take Disney. Don't worry.
So
Okay.
Andrew and Madeeh are going to do Disney, Henry and Mike are going to do comedy. There we
All
go.
right, here, just
Andrew,
a tip
I'm
real
gonna
quick,
put your
and
ass to the
just a helper thing for Andrew. Just be strong because he's a
To
good
be fair,
arguer. So just be strong.
As the only person who has played a match before today, Andrew won his speed round 2-0.
But I'm just saying, against Madeeh, strategy-wise, he's gonna talk loud and really just make sure you get your shit clicking against him, partner.
All right. So let me just make sure I have.
Having 3 siblings helps with this kind of thing. I just start
Growing
yelling
up
and hope
with
something
Disney
happens.
movies helps a lot.
As I hear a lot of animated trivia
you like
questions,
12
I
years
realize
old,
that
dude?
that's probably a weakness for me. Animated.
I'm arguing Disney with a 12-year-old.
While wearing a watermelon shirt? Fuck off.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. Here we go. Here we go, guys. So,
Get out of here. Swaggiest shirt in the world.
Did you just say swag? You lose now.
all right, for the Disney question, Andrew and Madeeh, What animated Disney film should be rebooted in live action next?
Peter Pan.
Sorry, is this ones that haven't already been put on the schedule?
Yes.
Okay.
So Andrew says Peter Pan.
Ready for you, Mike.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh, shit.
Hunchback of Notre Dame? Okay.
Damn, I want to make so many jokes because
All right,
it'll help
Andrew,
you though.
since you said Peter Pan first, we're going to go ahead and start with you. Just so you guys know, it's going to be 20 seconds for each of you, then 10 for the rebuttal. Andrew, when you start speaking is when I'll start the timer.
Okay, if you get, most of these live action movies have been great, and if you get the right guy to be Peter Pan, you get the right director, it's going to be great. Peter Pan is a beloved movie, and it's been out for a while, and it's not going to be like a Lion King where it's so beloved.
Time.
Where,
Madeeh, when you start talking.
Okay, first of all, Peter Pan is not a good movie. It's ridiculously racist. Second thing, there's been enough Peter Pan reboots that I don't think we ever need to see another one again. The last one that came out a couple years ago with Hugh Jackman as Captain Blackbeard was absolutely awful. I think Hunchback of Notre Dame would be a much more compelling story because it's a story we don't really hear about a lot, and I think we do need to see a reboot of it. Having that character
All right, Andrew, 10 seconds when you start.
all right, like that one a couple years ago had nothing to do with Disney. If you get, Disney to make it, it's going to be great. It's not one that's so beloved. Motherfucker.
Madeeh, go ahead and start.
We've seen enough of Peter Pan. I want to see Quasimodo and the Gypsies and everyone else come back in that movie because that movie is one of the all-time greats and it's often underlooked, and I think we do need to see a live-action version just to kind of give the old one some new legs.
All right. And with that, even though the point necessarily wasn't Disney related, the best I could pull out of it was the fact that we have seen a lot more of Peter Pan than we have of Hunchback, and that Peter Pan has not necessarily turned out great. So I got to give the point to Madeeh. They go up 4-3.
Save for Robin Williams' version.
No.
All right. So Henry and Mike, in the comedy question, what I'm going to do, I'm going to name 2 franchises. You guys got to pick which one is the better one. Okay.
Oh, that's awful. All right.
And we're going just off of, because one of these does technically have more than the other. We're going off the first 3 only. Okay.
Okay. First 3 only.
Better comedy franchise: The Hangover or American Pie?
American Pie.
So Mike said American Pie. Henry said Hangover. Perfect. Okay. So I heard Mike first, so Mike's going to get American Pie. And then Henry has Hangover.
I don't know who went first, though.
Right. And Mike, when you start speaking is when I'll start the timer.
Well, quick question before we start. So we're only talking about the 3 movies versus 3 movies, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be Hangover 1, 2, 3 versus American Pie 2, American Wedding.
Just want to make sure. Okay.
Lucky you. That was going to destroy you with the other ones. I'm sorry.
Oh, there's way too many direct-to-DVD ones to count those. All right, go ahead and start when you start speaking.
American Pie is definitely the better trilogy of Hangover. American Pie is the ultimate teenager up to college group movies, ultimate bro movies. Hangover, the first one was great. The second and third one was just rehashes of them all, and they sucked. American Pie 1, 2, and 3 were great throughout. American Wedding may have had some faults, but overall, it was a clear ending to the story. It had Jason Biggs, fucking as Madeeh, Sean Williams.
All right, Henry, when you start speaking.
Okay, so The Hangover, I feel overall is more quotable. You have characters that where you actually make lines, like we were talking about earlier with The Hangover and the Rain Man and stuff. You have that. You have the Am I Missing a Tooth? You have Mike Tyson Punch. You have you fell in love with the Phil Collins song because of that. American Pie is just fart jokes and poop jokes and sex jokes and all that stuff. It's immature. It doesn't appeal to everybody, and it's a high school, but you can't really get to high school. It's inappropriate.
Mike, go ahead when you start speaking.
Kevin Smith was part of a poll where they had Stifler be the most 10-10 character of all time for comedy-wise. They did a poll of people chose Stifler over every character. That Stifler is just an amazing performance in that movie.
Time.
She steals movies.
All right, Henry, I'll give you 12 seconds just because he spoke over a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and start when you start speaking.
All right, so The Hangover, there has scenes that are really offensive, like paging Dr. Faggot, but it's hilarious because you show it's just a bunch of group of guys. You have Alan, you have Phil, you have a group of guys, not just one guy that you're really hoping that is just going to make everyone love it. You have a group. That's
Time.
Wolfpack.
Final point's going to do a group of memorable characters over one with Stifler, even though, personal opinion, I think Stifler's a better character than the ones in The Hangover. We're going to go off the argument, so I'm going to go with Henry for that point.
If you wouldn't have mentioned that, I don't know where I would have went, but I was able to use that because
That's
Stifler is
how
great,
it
but
works.
he didn't bring up anybody.
So the
good
score
shit.
scored 4-4 because you guys have had an equal amount of arguing from here on out. It doesn't matter who takes what. It's just depending on the genre. So for the third question, the genre is related to comic book movies.
Do you want to take this one, Henry?
You want to take this one, man?
I'm assuming Madeeh, so I want to go against Madeeh.
Okay.
Wait, Mike, am I taking this one?
Yeah, if you can.
Sure, yeah, I'll do it.
All right, Madeeh versus Mike.
Their teammates.
Question related to comic-
That's a civil war right there.
Madeeh versus Henry.
Madeeh versus
We've already
Henry.
done that match, man.
Hey,
Madeeh
Mike, who do you
versus
think wins out of the
Henry.
two of us?
All right.
Question is, who should play the Joker in the solo film?
Jacob Tremblay.
I'll take the easy way out, but I'll go with Leonardo DiCaprio. It's the easy choice, but I can argue it.
All right, fine, I'll accept it. The reason I was debating not accepting it is just because he's the big one that's rumored. So I was just thinking in my head, do I want to allow it? But I'll let you fight it.
Yeah, since it's not official, I think it's fair.
Okay, so Madeeh had Jacob Tremblay first. So Madeeh, when you're ready, 20 seconds on the clock.
Jacob Tremblay, at whatever he is, 8 years old, 10 years old, in Room was probably one of the most fine actors I've ever seen at such a young age. If you give him the chance of being such a phenomenal character like the Joker, I think you could really bring something. Also, it's an origin movie, so you want to start him young and have him play someone that is given Heath Ledger an Oscar and Jack Nicholson one of the finest roles of his long and storied career.
Henry, when you start speaking, 20 seconds.
All right, so unfortunately for Jacob Tremblay and the Joker, it's now. It's going to happen now. There's no way that you have enough time to build up his character of growth and how he becomes a Joker. So it's either going to be a child story or you're not going to get the point of the Joker and the menacing part. It's not going to work well at that age, and that's unfortunate because he is a fine actor, but the character, it's not going to really work with the age.
Time. Perfect. All right, Madeeh, 10 seconds on the clock when you start speaking.
I don't think that that's a really knock on Jacob Tremblay. I think that if we do start him young, I think you can show the psychoticness of the Joker start young. Leonardo DiCaprio is an easy choice, and it's a boring choice, honestly. I feel like Leonardo could do so many different roles, and people would say yes.
Henry, 10 seconds when you start speaking.
So to start off, in Django Unchained, he showed that he could play a bad guy, and at the end of the Aviary, he showed that he could be creepy and twitchy with his OCD. And Catch Me If You Can, you show that he can have a relationship like you would with Batman, with how he did with Tom Hanks' character.
Madeeh started to sell me a little bit more on Tremblay with his second argument, but Henry gave a list of films that show each specific part of the Joker and why it would work. I got to side with Henry, even if it is the obvious choice.
Like I said, it was the easy choice, but sometimes that's just, I'll give you credit. Good for balls going there. Like it was a lot closer than you would think with just good shit.
Yeah, that's a Jacob Tremblay is like a very different choice.
Yeah, I mean, picking like him, a woman, anything, like balls for that. Like I took the easy choice.
It's
but
an origin
sometimes-
movie, right? That's the movie, the origin movie.
I can definitely see where you were going with it.
I should have gone somewhere. I should have said Leonardo is like what, 50 now?
Just to fact check, guys.
Okay, good. Do you have some fact check?
Yeah, I mean it's Leonardo DiCaprio was actually it was a rumor created, made up by the THR, the Hollywood Reporter. It's made up. So yeah,
Perfect.
this is a dumb rumor.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So next fight, the genre is gonna fall in action comedy.
Andrew kicked Mike's ass.
So is it gonna be Andrew versus Mike?
Yep.
I want to see that.
Yeah,
Madeeh, you
I'll
good
do
with
it.
that?
do it. I'll do it.
All right, Andrew versus Mike.
Bye, Andrew.
Question is, recast the two leads in the remake of Bad Boys.
Oh,
Damn it!
that's awful. No, stop. That's
Kevin
not a
Hart and The
question.
Rock.
Okay. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon.
Ooh.
Let's do this.
Thank God Evan's not judging.
Oh my God.
That's an Evan answer right there.
So we have Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson versus Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Couldn't be more
Oh
different.
my God.
Andrew, when you're ready to start speaking, 20 seconds on the clock.
Okay, this is flat out. This isn't going to be a good movie anyway. So if you're gonna pick two people that have great chemistry, and that is just going to make it a fun, entertaining movie to begin with. You know, why waste the talents of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon when you could go with two people who are going to just make it so much fun?
All right, and with time to spare, that is time. Mike, 20 seconds when you start speaking.
Better chemistry. Nobody has better chemistry than Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Have you seen Dogma? You want ridiculousness. You got ridiculousness with those two. Those two have done action together with Dogma. Those two are amazing actors. They are funny as hell. Good Will Hunting, for Christ's sakes. They have the greatest back and forth in the world. The Rock and Kevin Hart, they've already done it. It's okay, but it's not amazing like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Time. 10 seconds on the clock for Andrew when he starts speaking.
Get him, Mike.
All right, the problem with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, I just don't see them in this role. I could see Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson in these roles and excelling in these roles and making this just a fun time at the theater. And that's what I want. Okay.
Mike, 10 seconds.
Kevin Hart and The Rock are too much of comedic actors together. I don't think one can play serious or the other. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they can't play one serious, one comedic. Ben Affleck has the chops to play more comedic than Matt Damon plays the serious part. They can do it together.
Last point takes it. I'm going to go with Mike.
Yeah, buddy. Is this done yet?
If I was Andrew, I would have brought up. Well, if I was Mike first, I would have brought up. Oh, The Accountant meets Bourne. But then if I was Andrew, I could have rebutted that and be like, oh, well, in both of those, they're one noted and they don't.
That's why I didn't bring them up.
That's why you don't bring him up.
Yeah.
On your quest for
You didn't bring up Central Intelligence at all. Like, you at least you got to use that as a
I was
crutch.
thinking, oh my God, he's going to bring up Central Intelligence.
I wanted you to bring it up. That would have been a great clutch.
Oh,
like that. Yeah, that was great. That would have been a perfect argument for that.
We
That movie
have
was so awful.
Yeah, but
we have last question.
Central Intelligence is great.
Again, doesn't matter who fights this one, but the question is
What's
going to
the
be in
score?
the category of Star Wars.
What's the score?
The score is 5-5. This is the last question. It's coming right down to the tiebreaker.
You want to do it, Henry?
You
You're the
want to
better
pick this one,
arguer.
man?
Yeah, I'll go with it. My Star Wars depends on the question, so we'll see.
Okay.
Mike, what do you think?
You want to take this?
Hang on. Can I take it? Sure. Yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
All right. So it's going to be
Cool.
versus Mike, and the question
Madeeh
is,
versus Mike again.
or Madeeh versus Henry.
They still want us to have a second shot.
You're going down.
We've been at this a long time,
All
guys.
right. We got this.
Hour 27.
What MCU actor should be in a Star Wars movie? And this is based off the recently announced casting of Paul Bettany in the Han Solo film.
Hold up.
Are
What?
we talking about in general or in one of the new ones?
Paul Bettany was just cast in Han
Yeah, he was
Solo?
just
Oh my
cast
God.
as of yesterday in the Han Solo film.
Oh my God. Isn't that movie done filming yet?
No.
All right, never mind. Something else.
Just what MCU actor should be in a Star Wars movie? And I have some idea in mind of what they would be doing, but it can be whatever you want to do. If you want to pitch a spin-off with them, go ahead. If you want to pitch them in one of the main movies that's already in production or could be made in the future, go ahead. Whatever you like.
This one's fun.
And just, I will extend the time to 30 and 20 because this is the last question. And it is a harder pitch.
Yeah, these two guys definitely need this.
Yeah, geez. I'm trying to think of who would be the best one though. Like that's.
All right, I'm gonna say this is gonna either hurt me or help me. Gwyneth Paltrow.
All right.
Andy Serkis. Oh no, he's already in it. Shoot. Snoke. Yeah. Chadwick Boseman.
All right, that's fair. Gwyneth Paltrow versus Chadwick Boseman.
So you said 30 and 20?
30.
Yes, sir. 30 and 20. Henry, when you start speaking, pitch me on why Gwyneth Paltrow should be in a Star Wars film.
All right, safe. Okay. I'm going to say Gwyneth Paltrow is going to play Rey's mom. Gwyneth Paltrow is older, but she still has that young look to her. And Daisy Ridley, she's really young looking. So it just shows that, dye Gwyneth Paltrow's hair brown, and then they look pretty good together. Regardless of the accent, it doesn't matter because they've been away for so long that who cares the accents. And then you showed that she can have character because she deals with difficult situations. She's handled Tony Stark. She showed that she can handle herself in Seven with difficult, dark situations, and she's been away for so long.
Good argument. Madeeh, 30 seconds when you start speaking.
Do I have to put them in a certain movie?
It would help. It would certainly help.
Okay.
I mean, if you
All
feel...
right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
Chadwick Boseman is one of the finer actors who's working today, and he's kind of come out of nowhere and just taken everyone by storm with movies like 42 and the Jackie Brown movie, or James Brown movie, sorry. I think Gwyneth Paltrow is kind of getting boring now. She's kind of been doing weird stuff now, and I don't really like it. She's not really into what she's doing with the MCU, so I'm not really sure she's into the whole studio idea. Chadwick Boseman, I think, is possibly going to be one of the greatest actors that we've seen in the MCU, and I think adding him to Star Wars as a villain or a bounty hunter kind of character, having his own storyline, would be phenomenal.
All right, Henry, last 20 seconds. Start when ready.
So more than likely, if you were to make Chadwick Boseman as a villain or a bounty hunter, he's probably going to have a mask on, so it's going to take away from his persona, and that's what you love about Chadwick Boseman's persona, his character, the way he is. With Gwyneth Paltrow, like I said, she may not like things the MCU because they've kind of drifted aside, so you put her in a one-off as Rey's mom, she's probably going to die if you think about it, so you have that, you show that relationship, you show how they're able to work well together, and she's soft and sensitive.
Madeeh,
you kind of shot yourself in the... Sorry. I think you kind of shot yourself in the foot by saying Gwyneth Paltrow is going to be in there and then die. Like, that's kind of useless for me to get that big name of an actress and then just kill her off. Chadwick Boseman, you don't need to have him in a mask. And even if you do, he had Black Panther and he was phenomenal in it. He just had that new Netflix movie that came out, and I thought he was great in it. And he showed how badass he can be with just some chain links in his hand. I think Chadwick Boseman would be the right choice to have as someone badass that you don't necessarily need to have a mask on.
All right, if you guys want, I'll give you an extra 20. Do you want it, or do you...
I would like an extra 20.
Madeeh?
Another 20 seconds before I eat? Sure.
Henry, time starts when you start speaking.
Okay, so what you said about the thing with the Black Panther, Matt, the best part of him is when he's T'Challa, when he has the mask off, when he's playing the king. That's the thing, he's royalty. So you put him in a mask and it just takes away from it. And Gwyneth Paltrow, like I said, you said, killing off, that's the point. That's stakes. You don't think she's going to kill him off, but the point is she doesn't have to commit, but she's going to play a good character and you're going to love her so quickly and then they're going to kill off, and that's going to make it even hurt even more.
And time. Madeeh, final 20. Go ahead.
I still think you're losing me, man. I haven't cared about Gwyneth Paltrow in a movie since Shakespeare in Love, and even that I didn't really care about her that much. You put Boseman in a mask or not in a mask, either way, he's going to be a badass on screen. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He walks on screen and you see his presence. You can feel his presence. He's the one that your eye looks at regardless of what he's doing. You notice him and you make sure that you keep your eye on him because you know he's going to do something crazy. Having him as a badass is going to be one of the best things. I could have said that better.
That was rough.
Before we name the winner, I just want to say all four of you guys did a great job the entire 48-hour marathon that we've done here.
There's food after this, right? You guys are providing food for us?
Yeah, watermelon.
Yes, I am.
This ruined I was going to watch 3.5 hour Return of the King, but not anymore.
I am Amazon Prime.
They're in hour 5 of it right now.
And a Pepsi.
Thank you. Sweet.
Okay, so, but... really speaking, to give the final verdict on this, I think both of you guys gave great arguments. Obviously, Henry talked more about the character within the film and what her role would be within the movie. Madeeh focused more on what Chadwick Boseman brings as an actor to Star Wars, the presence he has, and how much he can, the gravitas and what he can bring to the franchise.
Hashtag Roka.
And yep, hey, we do have 2 cowboy hats. It's okay. And okay, so again, a lot of good points. Obviously, you have the hit against Gwyneth Paltrow. We've seen her kind of wean off in the Marvel films, so we don't know how much she's going to care about being in a Star Wars film. We have the hit of, it might pull away from the gravitas a little bit of Chadwick Boseman being in a mask. It might pull away from the gravitas of him a little bit. And the thing is, there was a big point that was put off against Henry, where it was, oh, you bring her in, and she's a big actress, you bring her in for a film, you put her in there, and then just to kill her off, it seems like a waste to go and get a big actress like that and put them in a film just to kill them. And I was thinking, well, there's a really easy argument back against that. Star Wars has already done it by going out and getting Harrison Ford to come back and killing him off. But Henry didn't go that route.
I didn't say that.
No. Henry didn't go that route, but instead he chose more to talk about why it helps the story and why it'll push the character forward, and that's why I'm going to give the point and hence the win to him and Andrew.
Woo! Yeah!
Let's go! You had me nervous for a second because I was like,
geez,
man.
that was talk about suspenseful, man.
I said this, but I was like, I'll give him credit.
Congratulations, guys.
I tip my hat off to you, fellas, literally.
All right.
Yeah, I'm taking his hat off too.
No, I said I tip.
I did all this to lose.
Oh.
Here's the deal. Okay, here's the deal. Okay.
Redeem myself against Evan.
First off, all 4 of you guys.
I'm 12 hours late for work for this.
I will not be providing a doctor's note. But here's what happened. All of you guys did a really good job. This is honestly, besides the shit show of a start and the random laughing, you guys are probably one of the best fights that we have and will have ever had on this show. You guys, for all the hassle behind the scenes, this came out really well.
For the record, I came at the last minute, literally this morning.
I mean, a lot of hassle behind the scenes.
I was a bit of a pain in the ass behind the scenes, I'll be honest. I mean, you wouldn't expect that from someone like me, who's such a professional on set, obviously.
Jesus.
But I was a little bit of a pain in the ass for the last week or 2 weeks or however long we've been planning this.
A little bit, but it's been a while in the making. I'm pretty sure I've put up 3 announcements.
I was 19 when we started planning this.
And now he's
I'm 23 now. It's been 4 years that we've been working on this. Avatar 4 has come out since we finished making this movie.
Has Shyamalan finally made a good film?
Hey, I like Split.
I'm just messing with him. All right.
The visit was nice.
So, guys, seriously, okay. So here's the deal with this match. All right.
Stay on target.
Be target.
Because it's a special event. So obviously, like I said, the match does affect your stats. So Andrew, this would actually put you up 2-0. Henry starts out 1-0. Madeeh and Mike are going to start out 0-1. The way that the league ranking works, the rounds that you guys win will go towards a total point scale that puts you on the ranking. So you guys, even though you guys did lose Madeeh and Mike, because you guys kept them going all the way down to the wire, you guys are still going to have a good points total coming out of this match. So you're not going to be anywhere near the bottom of the leaderboard. Okay.
Awesome.
Also, the other thing, and obviously, if anybody has a ranking problem with this, you guys can call bullshit on this. But because we had such,
I call bullshit on the answer to the last question.
because we had such an issue behind the scenes with all of this, and because we had a lot of shit going on with this match, each one of you is going to get 3 points added to your points total, and I will vouch for this one. So you guys are going to get a little extra boost just for participating, because this is something we may never do again, just because it was such a shit show behind the
What did you do,
Madeeh? I wasn't that bad. It's like, oh my god, we can't do this again. This D.
Well, we can do it again. We'll just find Madeeh's replacement. But
if you get my brother in this as my replacement, I swear to God, I'll whip his
Oh, we got to do the after team match teams again.
Yeah, right. But
Me and Mike
it
can
is
look
debating.
at
But seriously, all of you guys did a really great job today. We'll go one by one to close out this video. Andrew, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Big Kim Hayes, and on YouTube at Andrew Hayes. Just that.
All right. Up next, Henry, plug the shit out of your show, man. Where can we find you?
All right, as you see right here, we do trivia. You'll see most of these guys, specifically Aaron, Mike, and Madeeh in season 2 of There Will Be Trivia. You can catch up if you need to on season 1. Dial M for movies. Dial M4, the number 4 movies. We have a There Will Be Trivia and World War Movie Facebook page, which I plug constantly, Movie Battleground, so you'll see that we're connected all the time. We have a mutual respect for each other, and we're all fun and games. And World War Movies is also debating, but it's more of a battle royale tournament instead of a big scope league. So it's kind of we're able to balance each other out. And then There Will Be Trivia is trivia. So we have a lot of fun there. And then of course, if you ever want to tweet at me, dial M for movies, same thing on Twitter.
All
a lot
right.
going on.
Madeeh, where can people find you?
Oh, Henry's done plugging himself?
Shut that.
I went and got lunch after that.
You wish you got lunch.
At what restaurant can we
I
find
really wish.
Benny fucking Hanna.
Store.
Benny fucking Hanna.
Probably. You can find me at any because this was ridiculous. No. You can find me at Madeeh on Twitter and Instagram. Madeehr. Don't add me on Facebook because I don't do a lot on there, so you're not going to see much.
All right.
Hold on, I got one thing.
At Madeeh if you want to follow my weird adventures.
Hey,
Also, watermelonshirts.com.
Hey, you
Watermelon
want to know where else we can find Madeeh? In the bee's shadow. Boom!
These nuts got him.
And Mike, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MikeHanley1987 and Instagram Gandalf the Grey Lived, and in the universe, just call out, I will be there.
Mike, you're so old. Jesus Christ. 87?
Wrath, where can people find you?
Mike was around when Lincoln was shot.
I swear to God. He was probably a witness.
Hold up, guys. Seriously, Wrath, where can you
Mike sat next to him.
In the shadows. Not the bees, though.
He's a small shadow. I don't know if you've seen the boy in real life, but he is short as shit.
All right, then. And you guys can find me.
Hopefully you edit this one. Chop
guys-
this down.
Nah, screw it. It's live, right?
Well, it's live now, but they edit it later, I think.
Yeah, we
Oh,
privately
don't
edit. I don't know how much editing Matt's gonna do. Sometimes I'm like,
Don't
wrong.
He said he commented on my post on World Movies. It says he's enjoying it, so maybe he won't edit that much because
Don't
it's
edit this
entertaining.
at all.
But it is fucking 4 hours long, so you might have to a little bit.
Hey,
Listen,
Lord of the Rings.
you know who your true fans are. If people can watch Lord of the Rings as a watch along, I'm sure they can watch this for 4 hours.
I swear to God, hell yeah.
Okay, no, but you guys.
Watermelon shirts the shit. There we go.
You guys can find me obviously on Facebook, Aaron Canola. You guys can find me on Instagram at Aaron Canola. I don't have a Twitter. And obviously, if you guys are not a part of the Movie Battleground Facebook page, you guys can go ahead and join that. Like I
should
said,
probably do that.
anybody who does not have a match scheduled wants a match. We're not taking any new players until next season. And just so you guys know, obviously, Mike, I know you have matches scheduled, but Madeeh and Henry will get you guys a match before the year's over as well, a solo match.
Cool.
But you guys, once the new year starts, we'll start pulling in some new people and getting new players in this. But yeah, obviously, subscribe to the channel, join us at Movie Battleground, follow all these great guys here, and we'll see you next time on the Movie Battleground. Take care, everybody.